Okay, we are now live. I'm gonna give it a second to get some people into the stream and send out this link to all my social media accounts, starting actually a little bit early, which is a bit different for me. I'm also gonna be doing this stream sober, which is also a bit different than what I would normally do, because I think I just want to be a little bit more laid back with this stream than some of the more, the previous ones. Wow, I apparently have to check my inbox on Facebook, so I'll take care of that later. Let me just, I'll actually take a second to look at that. What is this? What is this? What are all these messages that I got here? Come on, you can do it. You can load. What is this? I have no idea. Fucking Facebook. Okay, I guess I'll have to check that out later. I don't know why I have that many fucking messages. It's got to be some kind of bug. Okay. I don't know why that didn't send out. Let me check fucking Twitter. Yep. Okay, we're all set. All right. Unfortunately, I was actually going to start about 10 minutes earlier, but I've had a lot of stuff just pop into just people's messages and stuff popping in front of me, different weird shit on Twitter and Gab and everything else, and I'm having to like respond to things at the last second, so I don't have to do it later. But we actually have quite a bit to get through. However, I thought I would take a second and do a little bit, operate a little bit differently. And rather than go straight into the articles, I would, allow some time to pass for some people to get in here. And apparently, we already have a super chat. This is from 8:01 p.m. from Dank Oozablue. Pre-streams shekels for the shekel god. Remember, kids only have one waifu. Having more will ruin your waifu. That's correct, Dank Oozablue. Good, sage advice from Dank Oozablue, who apparently can't make it. He will be missed, but thank you for the super chat. I'm not really sure whether I should go into this or not. I've been embroiled in a little bit of controversy for the past few days, and it's actually a little bit longer than that. It's been a little bit pre that Ben Shapiro video. The Ben Shapiro video really sent some people off. But apparently, I've had some controversy coming my way that I've been unaware of for a little while. But a decent percentage of people, I don't really know if it's a decent percentage, but enough people to where I've noticed have actually taken issue with some of the videos that I've been doing. And it has been for a few months now. They just really haven't been making it known to me. And it's really something that I can't really respond to when I don't understand what the point is that they're trying to make, other than they disagree with my opinion. And that's enough for them to say, okay, I'm done with your channel. And it's like, okay, well, if that's the case, I don't really know what to say to you. If we hold a difference of opinion, then that's it. Then that's all there is. And I don't really know what I'm supposed to say to you outside of that. The metrics that I go by are the views that I get per video, the amount of interaction that I have on my channel, and the number of people that are supporting me on Maker Support and Patreon. And for February, I have gone up pretty significantly. I've gained, I think, including a little bit of late July, early February, and where we are now, I've probably added another $100 to both, to my monthly amount. So when people take issue with what I do, it's hard for me to really respond when it's like I'm doing better right now than I have been in months. I was doing terribly in December in terms of, income. But since then, I've been going up. I had a down period in January to make up for the, December being a bloodbath. But February for me has been great. I don't really know what to say to people that take issue with my channel. It's like, yeah, I had, I think, 50 odd people unsubscribe from my channel just based on that Ben Shapiro video. But it's like, I don't know what you want me to do. I'm doing really good this month. It's too bad that many people took off, but it's like the numbers in terms of the subscribers reflect that. But in terms of income, I'm doing good. So you got to offer me something. You know what I mean? Got to really offer me something, or else I'm just not going to really pay attention to you, because I've been getting criticism for as long as I've had the channel, and it's been pretty similar. It's been, I disagree with your opinion. I don't like the way that you are in terms of your personality and just or semantics, or that you literally misconstrue what I'm saying, which is pretty pathetic. Like, I don't know what to say to you if you literally are offering an opinion that I've never given, and you're basically using that as a club to beat me. I don't really know what to say to you. So I guess I can just leave it there, because until I really see something that hammers home some actual criticism. Like, for example, people are complaining on the last Sargon stream, where I streamed with Sargon, that his audio was bad. And even there, it's like, well, I'm not sure what I can really do about that, but I can try to see what I can do in the future if I have guests on a hangout to make sure that their audio is better. But I'm not sure what I can do in that instance. I see a bunch of people asking in the chat if I'm going to get Kingdom Come Deliverance. I've actually held pretty firm to not buying anything gaming wise, and that has remained true since I made that video. I forget exactly when I put that out, but since I released that video, where I believe it was the end of January, where I said I'm not going to spend any more money, I've held firm to that. I haven't bought anything, and I'd rather not buy anything, because ultimately I still stand by everything that I've said, even though that video has been very controversial. That has been a very controversial video, of which I lost, I forget how many. It was like 20, 30, maybe. Yeah, it was around 30 subscribers I lost from that video by itself, that unsubscribed from that video. But it's like, I don't really know what to tell you. I still stand by that argument that I made in that video, that the Western gaming industry is shit and that it's not getting any better. And I still blame, and this is one of the big things people got mad at me for, is I blamed gamers. They share in part responsibility for where the Western gaming industry is, and it's because not enough people have done anything to change gaming. No, not enough people have spoken up. They haven't done boycotts. They haven't done boycotts. They haven't done fucking anything in terms of organizations to try to change the industry for the better. It's just been a lot of hand-wringing, a lot of complaining, and my position on it is that I just want to check out. I don't really know, what I can say besides that in terms of my position on it. So as it relates to uh, Deliverance, it's on my wish list on Steam. Maybe at some point I'll buy it, because people have told me that the video is very good, or excuse me, the game is very good. And by all appearances, it is. I know that the dev team behind it was an early, I believe, Gamergate supporter, and spoke openly against the people in gaming that have been destroying it. And he deserves an immense amount of credit for that. And I will probably eventually buy that game. But right now, I'm just playing, if I'm playing anything, because I've been working a lot. But what I have been playing is just a decent few backlog games that I've had that I just haven't finished or felt like playing. And that's pretty much what I'm going to be sticking to until now, or until such a time that I feel necessary to buy something else. I don't want to open myself up to the criticism that I'm a hypocrite the second I buy a game, regardless of what that game may be. Especially when I've done actually 2 reviews that I haven't even uploaded because I haven't edited them. Those are going to be going on my secondary channel, because one of the things I haven't really said, I believe, is that I'm done talking about games on my primary channel, my actual channel, this channel. I'm done talking about games, with the exception of these kind of streams where I talk about it. Outside of that, I'm not talking about them anymore. And I'm going to repeat myself only one more time about why. And the answer is that I took some time to look through my older videos to see what I made as an argument. And what I was going to do was basically take the best clips of all my different videos and put them into a single video and then do a final summary where I basically showcase all the reasons why Western gaming is shit, the influence SJWs have had, the damage they've done, and just a culmination of those factors in a single summary, and then that be my last video on the subject. And it never reached that point because in the midst of working on that, I just got so frustrated by what was going on, just the continuous bad news from the industry. And finally, that article that somebody sent me regarding whoever the fuck from Xseed. And people, that was one of the things people got mad at me for from that video, was they said that guy's a good guy. He's held firm in the past. And it's like, I don't know what to tell people when I say that if you agree to the opposition's ideas, like if you just concede their opinion and you spend, paragraphs just buffering yourself for the criticism you're going to get, you will eventually cave to them. And I think what people are mad at me for is the fact that they think I'm right. That on some level they know I'm right. That guy eventually is going to fucking cave. And he's going to just be like everybody else in Western gaming. He's just going to be another pussy that gave in to the SJWs. I think they know that that's where the guy's going to do. And I don't give a shit what the guy's fucking reputation is. That was a big thing. Oh, this guy's reputation. I don't give a fucking shit what his reputation is. He had two choices in that interview, and he decided that he was going to spend paragraphs apologizing for his own apparent beliefs. The fact that he's not censoring his games yet. He's going to fucking apologize for that. When you are already conceding those details, you will eventually fucking cave. That is just how it will be. Get mad at me over that? That's fine. It's him that's going to be fucking eventually doing it. He's going to be the pussy. And that, to me, was the final straw. Like, I just had enough. I had enough of the Western industry. And I don't give a shit about the past. I don't give a shit about people's reputations and what they've done once upon a time and all the rest. I don't give a shit what indie game you're going to fucking... which barely anyone has recommended me anything. That was the big thing is, oh, Louis, play indie games. It's like, well, fucking recommend me some. All I'm going to hear is fucking... whatever the fuck Original Sin and like 5 other fucking games. It's just going to be a pathetic list. And then everything else is going to be Japanese. You know what I mean? Like, that's what people are going to offer me as like some kind of saving grace for gaming. And it's like I said, I still stand by the fact that I think I need to find a new hobby. I really do. I don't see I don't see any future in it with gaming. There's just nothing. And if you disagree with me, fine, fucking disagree. But as it relates to the Western industry, fucking offer me something. Offer me some kind of example of, oh man, here's the fucking Western industry coming back with a vengeance. Just give me an example, contradict me. But I don't see a lot of that. It's just a lot of complaining. Dale Ritter says, honestly, ever since you stated Catgirls can't give consent, I've kind of just been done with you. I can consent every time I fuck her. I get consent every time I fuck her. Well, then you're not fucking an actual catgirl then. Catgirls are fictional for starters. But the catgirls in visual novels, they cannot consent, and I stand by that. You are incorrect, Dale. And if that means you're going to have to be done with my channel, then so be it. Join the list of people that have unsubscribed from me. I'll be okay. Okay. So if there's anything else, I'll check the chat once more to see if there's anything else. Otherwise, I'm going to get into the topic. So if you have something to say it now, and I will mention it. Otherwise, we're going to have to hold off until later because I'm just going to get into some actual articles. And we have quite a few to get through. Let me maximize that. Oh. think this is gonna play. Okay, I stopped it. Good. Oh, actually, I muted the audio on my computer, so that's good. Everyone's telling me to buy Kingdom Come. I've heard a lot of good things about it. It doesn't mean that it's gonna connect with me and what my taste is, uh, but yeah, people have said that it's a good game. Uh, Go do Dogor or Ska. Those are good hobbies. I like if that's some sort of joke. I don't get it because I appreciate the support, but I don't get what you're trying to say there, bro. You need to fucking translate that for me. Yes, Sephi, I have seen V's latest video from the on the alt-right. Yes, I have seen that video. I left a comment on it. If you take a look at the comment section, you might be able to find me there. Let me okay, Juan Pablo is asking me a question. Question for the stream: what exactly shaped your leftist ideology? Was it something you read, or was it just because of a life experience you had? My politics have been evolving for an incredibly long time. I've been essentially politically aware and a political junkie since like the senior year of high school. The 2008 election is when I started getting back involved in politics. I was a little bit before that, but that's when I started getting really involved again. And it's been pretty much evolving since then. I used to be more conservative than I am now. Although it basically went from being more socially conservative to becoming more politically leftist, I would say, for several years, and until recently, I've had a couple reversals on a few different issues. The biggest one, obviously, being immigration, which I've talked about at length, and I would like to do a video this month on, although I can't guarantee it because this month has been really bad for work. I've been really busy. I don't care about the Obama portraits. I already tweeted about them. They're just fucking stupid. All right. I guess that's it. We can get to some other like super chats or whatever later on. So I will share my screen and we will get going. Okay, so you can't see it because this article is kind of wonky. It's like an AP article that has been basically stolen by Yahoo. So one of the leaders, or maybe the leader, I forget which. No, she is a leader. She's an assemblywoman in California, and she was a big advocate of the Me Too movement, which is just basing, guilt or innocence on mere accusation. And now she has had accusations laid against her. And there's a few articles in here about this kind of shit, but I think it's pretty obvious that this is the reason why you shouldn't just take accusation as any kind of evidence for whatever. Because for all I know, the guy that's accusing her of groping him, and it appears to be to some degree legitimate. This appears to be a decent accusation, but the thing is that I say to him what I have said to any woman that has been groped or has been molested or has been whatevered. Go to the police. Don't just wait until years later and just throw accusations out there. If you've been accosted, go to the fucking police. It isn't complicated. But the thing is that, ultimately it was worth this guy coming out about this accusation because, like I said, it does appear to have some legitimacy because she actually does admit to being there and he was there at some party or whatever. So this did happen. And the question is whether she was drunk or not. And if she was drunk, there's a good chance that this actually happened in terms of her, I think, grabbing the ass or whatever of some staffer, fucking whatever, or intern, I forget which, but yeah, she didn't deny being there, and it's just a question of whether she was drunk or not, and whether someone can actually corroborate the accusation itself. So it's still just an accusation, but I thought it was interesting to mention just because, like, this is what happens when you advocate this kind of shit, is that ultimately you have to live by what you advocate. And if you advocate just believe accusations, then the only difference is that he's a guy and you're a woman. And I think that for some people that actually will make quite of a difference in terms of who's actually believed versus who isn't. Because the phrase is believe women, not believe accusers or whatever. Let's see here. What do we want to talk about next? Oh, yeah, let's talk about this. So, what's today's date? Today's the 14th. So this happened a few days ago. And it was New York Times Salon, I want to say. Think Progress did a piece they got in trouble for. CNN, there's a couple pieces from CNN that they got in trouble for. But for whatever reason, there were a whole bunch of people in the press that were writing kind of ridiculous, fawning articles about Kim Jong-un's sister, pictured here, who, by the way, I'm not sure if she is just homely or she's not wearing a lot of makeup, because you look at her, her lips look like she has like gloss on them, but she doesn't appear to be wearing any blush. Her eyes are very like plain, like they don't really seem to have any kind of like lining. It doesn't like I don't know, it's like it looks like she has just some basic foundation on, but this is ultimately, I would say, either she's just kind of homely and plain, or she's just wearing like an absurd lack of makeup, and it's not flattering, but she's not very good looking. However, the point of this story and these articles, and I'm just going to show the one, is for whatever reason, it's just a fawning fluff piece about Kim Jong-un's fucking sister. And I think that they're just trying to like play up some kind of like factor of, oh, well, there was this camaraderie where you had the South Koreans waving whatever unification flag, and so were the North Koreans. But it's like, you can actually interpret the waving of these flags as a threat, because the South Koreans are open to a diplomatic solution in terms of the 73rd parallel, whatever the fuck it is. Like the war that's never actually been concluded between the North and the South. But with the North, the only thing that they've ever offered for the South has been ruin. They've only ever offered to invade or artillery or nuclear strike the South. They've never really offered any kind of peaceful solution to the North versus South divide, to the original war that occurred. However, 60 fucking years ago, whatever it was. So these kind of articles are genuinely inappropriate, because you're essentially propping up the sister of a dictator, the one of the last remnants of the 20th century, and you're doing it to spite the vice president of the United States. Like, I get the whole, we're the New York Times and we have Trump derangement syndrome. By the way, look at these names. Cho Sang-hoon, which is Korean, and Makoto Rich, which is a really ridiculous name, like a Japanese first name and a English last name. Got this like traitorous Hafu here. Makoto Rich is the Tokyo bureau chief for the New York Times. She has been a reporter with the Times. I don't know why. She looks pretty... Oh, she's probably married to a white man. That's what it is. She's married to a white man. Oh, no, she grew up in New Jersey. Tokyo and Northern California. Oh, there's a surprise. She's been a reporter since 2003. You know what? Let's take some time and let's look up Matoko. Come on. Here's your LinkedIn page. It's in fucking Japanese. Oh, where's Wikipedia? Frank Rich. Let's see. Frank Hart Rich Jr. This fuck ugly beast here. Let's see here. I want to see if he's married to that chick. Personal life with his wife. Okay, no, he's not. Damn. That's too bad. I thought he was going to be the white man that she's married to. Hold on. I want to find out. I want to find out who she's fucking married to. I want to find out who she's married to. Let's see. Rich husband. Ooh. Let's find it out. Let's see here. Adjusting to our new life with a tedium. My husband discovered a language class, blah, 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 blah. God damn it. Help my son. Japanese box. My husband figured out how to decode the Japanese-only instructions. Who's your fucking husband? Who is your husband? Damn it. God damn it. I want to know. I'm very curious. I'm very curious to see if her husband is fucking white. It's about my husband would send by email. What's in his surname? Institution. Ooh, let's see. With Japanese Times. Japanese Times is terrible. Every time I read the Japanese Times, it is just a Western fucking stolen article that's by a fucking corporatist. It's terrible. Let's see here. Ooh! Haruko. Married. Da-da-da-da-da. She signs, blah, blah, blah. Response is someone using her former surname. The article strikes me exaggerates. Written by Makoto Rich. Starts pretentious Japanese constitution. Promises gender equality. Blah, blah, blah. Rich also wrote, when I wrote a book, well, let's say backward. Responded Japanese developments, blah, blah, blah. She may have been referring to what Rich indicated as her source, the World Economic Forum, blah, 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 blah. I arrived in the United States in the late 1960s, so naturally went through the Miss Decade. I even submitted the translation of Japanese women's poems to Mrs. Blah, 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 blah. Marriage. God, just give me the answer. I don't want to read all this shit. Just give me the fucking answer. Higher educational. Thinking about Rich's articles. Blah, 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 blah. Well, she does appear to have changed her last name. That does not appear to be her actual last name. That appears to be her married surname. But I don't know. Because Rich is a fucking Anglo name, so I'm assuming that her husband is fucking white. I don't even remember why I was going to make a point about this. I don't even remember. Whatever. Let's just move on. We got Bazinski. Thanks for the super chat, Bazinski, you Brazilian fucker. Spending Valentine's on a Lewis stream. I want your body pillow from Jayless Now. That's right. If you want to get yourself a girlfriend for Valentine's Day, head on over to Jayless using my affiliate link, which can be found in the description. So yeah, fuck this article. Fuck you, Motoko, Rich, and Cho Sang Hun. Get the fuck out of this country. Makoto is actually still in, apparently, the bureau chief in fucking Japan. But guess what? We've exported another regressive twat to Japan who's from California. Surprise. Yeah, I guess we'll go to this next. So Newsweek is an outlet that's been around for quite a while, I'm pretty sure. And on occasion, I would get an article from them that wouldn't be that bad. As much as I can't stand the mainstream press, whether it be Newsweek, New York Times, Washington Post, whatever, they are important to find the occasional article from. You know, they do hold some value because, as you can see, I do cite them quite a bit in my videos because it's for a few reasons. But one of the reasons why I cite them is it gives it the air of nonpartisanship. You know, rather than use Breitbart articles all the time or Daily Wire, Daily Caller, outlets that would be arguably right-wing, I instead use sources that are mainstream because it's a lot harder to point your finger at me and say that I'm a hack or I'm using biased sources when I'm actually sourcing the most mainstream outlets available. I do that on purpose. I usually try not to cite too many Breitbart articles and, you know, other right-wing outlets like that because people will just take that and use that as a means to dismiss you. Whereas they won't do that, and they can't do that with New York Times articles. They just can't do it. That doesn't mean that they're a great outlet because I certainly don't think they are. They publish a lot of fucking bullshit, as I just, you know, cited, but they're useful for argumentation. However, getting back to this article, with Newsweek, actually, they appear to be in the process of collapsing because they have apparently been exposed for some kind of, they're being investigated for money laundering or some kind of crime. I forget which. Fraud, I think, maybe. But they're being investigated for some kind of crime, and they got raided by, was it FBI? Who did they get raided by? Does it say here? Oh, NYPD. So they have their office in Manhattan. They got raided by the NYPD. They're likely going to be indicted. Whomever's going to be indicted for fraud or something. I forget which they're being investigated for, but they did something, and then a bunch of reporters from Newsweek reported on the raid on Newsweek, and then they all got fired. And then a bunch of editors and other employees basically did a sit-in where they took over the office, and they got sent home by the upper management. And so now there's this big separation between the Newsweek management and the Newsweek staff. And it's because the staff want to basically report on whatever they want to report on, and that includes what's going on at Newsweek itself, because they're currently being investigated by New York State for some kind of criminality. And the corporation basically wants them to report none of it. They don't want any leaks to what's going on inside the offices, because it'll likely expose people for crimes that they don't want to be exposed for. And so they are basically cracking down, and it's evolved since then. And there's another article from the Daily Beast, which apparently just explains that there's basically a massive it's just a really bad environment at the Newsweek offices, that there's basically staff and upper management getting into screaming matches within the offices. And they basically want to just report on what's going on, but the upper management doesn't want them to. And that's ultimately the summary of what's going on. But it appears as though that Newsweek probably won't survive this. It's been a few days, so can't say for sure just yet. But it probably won't survive this. And in some part, it's fine because fuck journalists. Hashtag yes, all journalists. They're all scumbags. But at the same time, I'm losing a source of information, and I'd rather not have that be the case. But maybe this will send a sign to some of the other outlets that they got to rein in their bullshit a little bit. And maybe once that happens, they can stop being so terrible in terms of sources, get past their Trump derangement syndrome, and actually report on something else. Let's see here. What do we? Oh, we'll talk about the stock market. So, for those of you that haven't been paying attention, I believe there was a day last week and then a day the week before. So twice in the last 2 weeks where the stock market dropped over 1,000 points. I believe the one day was 1,000 and then the other day was 1,100 or maybe 1,200. I forget which. But, oh, actually, this is the wrong article. Nope, that's not the right one either. Shit. This is the right one. So the Dow Jones dropped on, what was this, Monday of last week? Dropped 1,100 points, and then it actually dropped total 1,500, but then recovered a bunch of value. And then it did so 665 points on Friday. So it was the Friday the week before, and then Monday it dropped again. And nothing happened. Nothing happened. It's bounced back since then. It's been gaining value since those two drops. And nothing occurred because of it. And it's been one of the things that I've said is that if the stock market goes up, if it goes down, it doesn't really matter, in my opinion. It matters for investors, but that's about it. It doesn't really matter for anybody else. I actually wanted to tweet it out the day that it happened to mock it, and I couldn't find it. I went online to try to find a clip of it, but there is a very old episode of a show called Rugrats, which you 90s kids will remember, where all the kids go to a bank, and they're basically just going around the bank, just fucking with stuff. Like they get into an ATM machine, and they're fucking around with the money, and I think they're like just shooting it out at people. And I believe the character's name was Chucky, if I remember correctly, kid with the glasses. He goes inside one of the offices, and he goes to one of the computers, and there's two buttons on it, and there's a button for up, and there's a button for down, and it's basically just a satirization of Wall Street, and he pushes the up button, and the stock, it goes to like the Wall Street, I forget what it's called, but it's basically the actual pen or whatever you would call it, the area where they're actually doing the trading. And the stock goes up, and the guy picks up the phone. He starts screaming, buy, buy, buy. We got to buy more stock. It's going up. And Chucky just hits the down button, and the stock starts going down, and everyone's freaking out. He picks up the phone again. He's like, sell, 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 sell. It was actually very funny. I remember laughing when I was younger because even back then I considered Wall Street to be a joke. It's just basically a casino, and it was mocked in South Park quite well, where they basically you had a spinning wheel of different equities or whatever you would call them, just fields of the stock market that you would invest in, and basically it was on a wheel, and you would cut the head off a chicken, and wherever the chicken would die after it walked around would basically be the winner, or it would go up in value. And they actually did another spinoff of that in I think it was one of the episodes in one of the most recent seasons, and also in The Fracture But Whole, where you go to forget the name of the banker, but you go to him at the local bank in South Park, and you can basically try to obtain value on the stock market. And it's essentially like a game. It is a game, but it's basically like a casino where you're just trying to make it up from being poor to like middle class, upper middle class, 1%, 0.01%. You're trying to go up the classes in American society, and it's just a game, and it's a satirization of the stock market. And I find it to be a very accurate satirization of the stock market, because it's more or less just an overly glorified casino, in my opinion, that people are constantly defrauding, and there's very little actual regulation of. So I don't really take the stock market that seriously. And when it goes up, it doesn't really matter. When it goes down, it doesn't really matter. Nothing really changes with the stock market, regardless of what it's doing. Where it could have any kind of impact on people's lives is the value of, let's say, petroleum. If the cost of gas or oil, depending on, it's basically just crude oil that's dependent, because the refineries ultimately produce at 100%. So depending on the cost of crude oil, if crude oil costs go down, the price of gas would naturally go down. Doesn't always work that way, because I think it's kind of a market that they ultimately control the value of. It's artificial, in my opinion. I don't really think, particularly with gas and other things, that it's completely, what would be the word? Genuine, for lack of a better word. It's not really on the up and up. I think it's kind of just like a price fixing routine, because there's only so many fucking gas companies, and they don't really compete all that much. They have their markets that they sell to, and even in the United States, they just sell to Europe because they can sell for more in Europe. So there's not really any kind of localized economy when it comes to gas. But outside of things like that, where the value is ultimately going to hit you, depending on what you're paying at the pumps or in a store, that's really all the difference maker is. But if the Dow Jones goes down 1,000 points, who fucking cares? What real difference did it make? Gas prices didn't shoot up. Food prices didn't shoot up. Coffee prices didn't shoot up. Nothing changed. Plastic pussy imports didn't go up. Nothing changed. Nothing changed. So now that it's recovering, and that's the news for today, is that it's now recovering and has been recovering for days, that apparently this is over inflation. That is the big fear for this up and down in the stock market, is apparently they're afraid that the record low percentages that have been given out from basically that are artificially kept low by the oh Jesus, oh God, I'm forgetting the name of it. It's our bank. It's not, because we don't actually have like a national bank. Federal Reserve, that's the name of it. It's a private bank, and it sets the interest rate for the nation. Also prints currency, except for coin. The United States Treasury, I believe, prints coin, but they print cash money. And wow, look at that ad. But the Federal Reserve has been artificially keeping down the interest rates for, I think, over a decade, pretty much since the 08 crash, 07 to 08 recession. That is how long they've been keeping down the interest rates artificially, as far as I understand it. And apparently, one of the fears is that Janet Yellen, I believe it is, who is the head of the Federal Reserve, maybe she, under her leadership, she may be raising the interest rates or easing back on the artificial nature of keeping them down. And one of the reasons why that would worry people on Wall Street, as far as I understand economics, is that if inflation goes up, that actually helps debtors. So if you are in debt, inflation actually helps you. I know that there's a lot of people that are sort of armchair economists who say that inflation is always bad and that it basically ruins an economy, because any inflation whatsoever is basically hyperinflation, based on what people have told me, because they're armchair economists. But there is some benefits to inflation, and I don't think that it is good for an economy to artificially keep them low for so long I understand, stepping up and doing such a thing in a very severe recession as banks are fucking failing. I understand the Reserve Bank doing that for that reason, but it's something that you really shouldn't carry through an entire administration. I mean, that happened right at the tail end of George W. Bush's administration. I mean, we're talking about when I was still in high school, and that happened. And it's kept on until now, February 14th, 2018. It's still going on. That's quite a long time. It's a decade, maybe a bit more than that. I'd have to go back and look. But this by itself is apparently scaring, or maybe there's more than that that's going on. I'm no economist. I don't watch Wall Street because I frankly don't fucking care. But that appears to be one of the things that's actually scaring Wall Street. Apparently, they're talking about the consumer price index. And like I said, I'm no economist. I don't really do much in terms of studying inflation. But here you go. Reserve Bank. A central bank. I'd have to look that up. I thought the Federal Reserve is what... they monitor inflation. I don't know what the central bank does exactly. Is that the part of the Treasury that actually... I don't know. Like I said, I have to look this up. I only have so much knowledge when it comes to economics and the United States' financial sector. I'm not very knowledgeable about it outside of having a general loathing of it. Don't really like it. Okay, that's that article. Let me click off that. So I guess we'll do this one next. So for quite a while now, I've seen articles popping up, and I haven't really had the opportunity to do the video where I talk about how fucked the Democrats are. But I don't know if I'll ever get to this. I probably won't, and I might not even get to that video. I'd hope I could get to that, video about the Democratic Party sometime this fucking year, because it is an election year, midterm. But one of the things that is very true of the Democratic Party is that it is not in a strong position for the upcoming election. I think that a lot of conservatives sort of use that as some kind of sign that they're somehow ascendant. But let me give you this example. Just imagine that, let's say the Republicans take seats in the Senate and in the House, and somebody dies and you get another nominee to the Supreme Court. Okay, so conservatives listening to this, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get, let's say, 2 more seats in the Senate, 5 more seats in the House, and someone on the Supreme Court. I want you to imagine that every single one of those people are clones of John McCain. Are you happy? Ask yourself that. Because I think that conservatives, unfortunately, are blinded by the idea that Democrats losing means that they themselves, as an individual, are winning, when you may be just electing more John McCains. And John McCain is terrible. I have a rant that I never actually uploaded where I got really angry at John McCain because he's essentially an internationalist. Like, he was praising the EU and talking about how much he can't stand Trump, and that he's worried about the future of the UK because it's pulling out of the EU. And it angered me so much, because it's like, oh, he said something else too. It wasn't just the EU. It was something else about, oh God, I don't remember what it was, but it was something about the Middle East as well. And it didn't make any fucking sense. It was so ridiculous. It made me so upset, because it was like, here you are praising an entity that's actively competing with the United States. How are you a fucking Republican? Like, I just don't get it. Like, you're a conservative, but that's what it is. Conservatives like to feign that, oh, the insane globalists, the insane internationalists, the fucking lunatic anarchists that want to open the borders, they're all leftists. The only anarchist, lunatic, cheap labor, open borders types, they're all leftists. And you have like 5 fucking honest conservatives on the planet, excluding Ben Shapiro, because he's a fucking liar about this. Again, Ben, I'm a libertarian on immigration, except in Israel Shapiro. And again, he literally said that, so you can suck my dick. He said, I'm a libertarian on fucking immigration. Suck my dick. He said that. There are conservatives, and again, I lost my train of thought on that, but I was going to say that one of the very few conservatives that are honest about how bad the right is on immigration is Tucker Carlson, who's been on a warpath for months on immigration. And he has been one of the very few that will supposedly, or so to say, punch right, where he will constantly berate conservatives for being weak on immigration. And he's right. You know, this is the thing that I have to say about people on the right, is that you can beat up on the left every single day. You can come to me and beat up and showcase, you know, some retard Democrat or some retard progressive talking nonsense about immigration. But I'm gonna sit there and say, okay, how about him? How about Ben? I'm a fucking libertarian and immigration Shapiro. You know, how about I'm gonna have a story coming up about the Cato Institute, which is a libertarian quote unquote think tank that is for open borders. You know, there are plenty of people on the right that are internationalists, they're open borders types that think citizenship is bullshit because taxation is theft, and let's just get rid of the government and let's live in basically a society run by corporations. You know, if you want to shit on the left, that's fine. It's fair enough. But this is one of the things that I can't stand about being, or, you know, conservatism, and why I would not consider myself to be a conservative is, for as many people as there are lunatics about immigration and citizenship and sovereignty and all the rest of it on the left, there's just as fucking many on the right. There absolutely are just as many people on the right that are absolutely ridiculous on immigration, on citizenship, and on national sovereignty. Just as many. But the fact is that outside of a handful of conservatives want to just ignore that fact. They just want to point their finger at the left and ignore how many fucking conservatives are lunatic fucking internationalists. Totally like John Lennon model fucking lunatic utopian internationalists. People that think borders are obsolete. That are conservative. Bona fide fucking conservatives. John McCain's apparently one of them. I know people like to shit on him and say that he's not really conservative. No, he is. He is. He's just a certain kind of conservative. And it's one of the things that I'm going to continue to say until it stops being true. Is I think that we've entered a period of time where every day and night the left is getting shit on for a whole host of different reasons, while at the same time conservatives are doing a lot of ridiculous shit that no one's fucking criticizing outside of Tucker Carlson. And I listen to a whole slew of right-wing people. Very few, like some fringe hosts from like CRT, are criticizing conservatives in the Republican Party. But outside of like fringe people I've never fucking heard of and Tucker Carlson, it's a small fucking section of conservatives that are actually criticizing fellow conservatives on being open borders lunatics. And is it for John Lennon reasons? No, it's not. It's for cheap labor reasons. It's for corporatist reasons. That's why they want cheap labor. And I love Tucker Carlson for it, because he just says it flat out, and it's true. That's why Republicans and a whole lot of conservatives want open borders, cheap labor. They don't want higher wages, more competitive pool in terms of employers having to seek out employees in a smaller pool of labor, or to train American citizens. They don't want to do that. They want to import labor. Tucker Carlson, a couple other people are even talking about it. And I'm going to keep saying that until it stops being true. And so don't get excited about this. Don't get excited that, oh man, it's 2018, baby, and the RNC is going to come in and the Republicans are going to kick ass and the Democrats are going to get blown out. And yeah, it could be all just John McCain's. It could be literally all McCain's coming in. And you have to question yourself whether that's actually going to be good for you. As people that are conservative, or anybody. I don't like John McCain. I think he's a fucking lunatic. He's deranged. We'll get to that in a second. So this is something I wanted to point out. It's from the beginning of the month, but I wanted to point to this because I think this actually coincides with what I did in that video, which people complained about. Some people appreciated it, but I had some people complaining about the video I did on Kirsten Gillibrand, who's a senator from New York State, the junior senator. They complained that it's not important to talk about her, but I'm telling you that Gillibrand is putting herself in the position to replace somebody like Pelosi, replace somebody like Feinstein. She won't replace Chuck Schumer until he retires, obviously, being from the same state. But she is positioning herself to be, basically stepping up to a serious position within the party. And she has walked back her criticism of Hillary Clinton to some degree. She still hit Bill a few times as being like a misogynist, blah, 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 blah. But she's backed down a little bit from criticizing Hillary Clinton, because it's pretty crazy how, and I've talked about this before, but she came right out and stuck the knife right in Hillary Clinton's back. But since then, she's backed down. And this is what I mean when it comes to power politics and cowardice and that. She's a chameleon, and I've said it before, but it remains true. She is trying to find her position to basically squeeze into a power position within the Democratic Party. She doesn't give a shit that it's really weak right now and that they're heading into 18 looking incredibly weak, but not really a but. She ultimately just wants the position of power that she can obtain within the party, because she knows that if she gets into a position of where Feinstein is, or where Chuck Schumer is, or where Nancy Pelosi is, she'll have a lot of power and a lot of money flowing into her coffers. And she's somewhat competent, but she doesn't have, she's like, Debbie Wasserman Schultz or Feinstein or whoever else. She is in some ways repulsive. She doesn't have any kind of natural charm. I've talked about that in that video. And if you want to, please go watch that video I did on her. I forget the name of it, but you can find it on, it's a picture of her in New York City marching with the mayor of the time, which was Bloomberg, and one other person, I forget whom. Oh, it was the former lieutenant governor of New York State that became the governor after Spitzer resigned. It was a blind black guy. I forget that guy's name. But she was marching in New York City with them. And she's come a long way. Come a long way. If you look up her history, how she just apologized today, actually. There was an article I could have brought up and talked about. She basically came out and apologized because she used to have some very conservative positions. If I remember right, she used to be a Second Amendment advocate because she's from this fucking area. She's from, oh God, where is she from? I forget where. I apologize, but I forget exactly where she's from. She's from a more rural area. And she used to hold just fairly mainstream conservative positions on a whole slew of things. And she came out in an article, and I forget where it was, and she was apologizing for all those previous conservative positions. And it's because ultimately, if you want to find yourself within a powerful position in the Democratic Party, you can't be a Second Amendment advocate because you want that Bloomberg money. That's billions of dollars that could be flowing into the party because you're an anti-gun lunatic. I'm sure she was on Twitter bleating about that shooting that happened in Florida today. And I didn't even see. I'm just going to assume that because it's predictable. All the positions that you can imagine that a Democrat would take to get special interest money, she's going to take. And she's going to say, any conservative position that I've held in the past on guns, on immigration, whatever. I don't know what position she actually held on, abortion or whatever, but she's going to abandon any of those previously held so-called principles in favor of the oatmeal that will get her money and will position her to potentially take a powerful position within the party itself. And this is no different. This is the same shit. This is effectively giving gays, because here's the thing, okay? I've said this for a very long time, but as it relates to the anti-discrimination laws, I think that there's a real argument to be had, whether it relates to giving them the same protections federally as blacks and other protected groups. There's an argument to be had there. And there's also the second part of that, which is commerce, which is the bake the cake laws. Whether you as a business owner have the capacity to refuse service to somebody who's gay, regardless of whatever the service is. That is a second issue to the anti-discrimination laws on a federal level. But that, too, I think is contentious, and I think that there's a very real debate there. And I don't think that it's very easy one way or the other to say that, it should happen. I think that there's a real debate, a genuine debate that needs to be had of both of those issues as it relates to federal protections because of what has already occurred in this nation. Because as far as I can tell, we have reached the point now where white people in our society are on our hands and knees, groveling at the feet of black people to stop calling us racist if you're white or even Asian as it relates now. Asians have been included in the group of You're With Us Now. And I'm not even saying that as a joke. I am literally saying that Asians are very shortly going to be in the same position as whites, as they are. I mean, I think it was the same at Google. That's part of the Google lawsuit, is that Asians were being discriminated against at Google because they're included as the same group as whites. Asians, from the social justice perspective, have white privilege. And I'm not saying that as a joke. That appears to be what the position is now. And I'm fine with that racial merger. Everyone knows that. That's more of a joke, but half a joke. But anyways, getting back to this policy, the problem I have is not, like I said, with the LGB part of this. Okay, there's a debate to be had. Where I have a problem with this is the TQ, because as far as I know, that is actually included in this bill. So with the LGB, there's a debate. Let's have the debate. I've actually debated this privately with Sargon. I debated the bake the cake laws. Myself taking the position of not baking the cake and allowing entrepreneurs the right to refuse service, and Sargon taking the position of bake the cake. And I thought that I was going to win that argument that him and I had. And while I still hold to that position, I will say that coming out of that debate that we had, which was probably like a good 30, 40 minutes, I wish we would have recorded it and put it up. But it was a very contentious debate. I can tell you that I think there are strong sides to both sides. And I think that people that will dismiss either are incorrect in doing so. That I think there's a real debate there in regards to the bake the cake laws. But the issue is with the TQ, okay, which is transgender and queer. One, queer, which is gender non-binary or gender non-conforming, that social constructive is bullshit. It's just fashion. So I wholly reject gender non-conforming, gender non-binary, and what is which is combined to the word queer. I reject that outright. So if you were to ask me, do you think that people should have federal law protecting them for their fashion choices, like criticism against their fashion choices, like as being discriminatory? Fuck that. It's not happening. It's not happening. So Q is bullshit. Anything beyond LGBT should be gone. Or anything beyond LGBT is, in my opinion, social constructive is bullshit and should be dismissed. The only one I'm entertaining is the T. And I'm not conceding the T outright, which is trans, but I'm saying that there is a very serious debate to be had about trans people. And it's the question of how much actual science is there behind this? How much is it something that can actually be diagnosed as a mental disorder or just can be corrected through acceptance? There seems to be a very big factor behind it, and people have heard me talk about this before, regarding suicide. It's disturbingly high, regardless of post-op, pre-op, post-op. Doesn't matter. Suicide rate is out of control, and it appears to be higher post-op. So with the trans issue, I'm more than willing to be polite to people that are trans, that if they politely ask me and they show respect to me and they say that they would like me to use a different pronoun, which the only ones that I accept are he or she. Those are the only ones you can ask me. Anything beyond that, I refuse. It's bullshit. I'm not using any Marxist fucking derived bullshit. I'm just going to use he or she to describe you. If you ask me to do so politely with respect, I will do so. But that's really my only position on the subject matter. Beyond that, in my opinion, it's all up in the fucking air. So as it relates to federal protections for trans people, in my opinion, that should be completely put on the back burner because the science is not done on trans. It isn't. I expect there to be 5 to 10 more years of legitimate science on the issue of trans. Because for all we know, we could see this go back into the fucking lexicon for mental diseases. It has a name. I forgot what it is. But this may wind up being an actual diagnosed mental disorder once again. It was taken out. It may once again go back into being a mental disorder. Just because it appears to have been taken out due to political correctness. There are people that are trans that live functional lives, that are content with who they are. And that's who the people that I see as an example of how it could be a good thing and that it is something that's worthy of respect and potentially protections. But the problem is that there are two groups of people that make this a problem. The people that are mentally disturbed who potentially kill themselves, which are a real group, and the trans-trenders who seem to be aligned with the gender non-conforming, crazy social constructivist Marxists. Those people are added into this mix, and they are fucking toxic. It's either based in biology or it isn't, and I believe it is. I believe the trans issue is based in biology. But I want to see that fully vetted and explained before we go anywhere with fucking laws. Because Canada didn't bother to have any kind of debate. They just went forward with the fucking laws. And basically, you're eventually fucking Jordan Peterson's probably going to have to move out of fucking Canada because it's going to turn into a fucking communist wasteland. And they're going to have him arrested for being a dissident. Thankfully, he makes like 7 figures a year and he can just move to the United States and continue to make 7 figures until he fucking dies. Because that, I don't really want to say whether I'm going to do it or not, but that's a video that I have a script that I'm working on is on Jordan Peterson. And it's just going to be, I don't really know if it's going to be a puff piece because I'm going to be rebuking some things that are said. But it's basically just going to be showing how Jordan Peterson so far has been yet to be kneecapped in terms of argumentation outside of that of religion, which people have a bone to pick with him for. So we'll get to some super chats and then I'll get to this article. So I want to talk about this. I thought this was actually something important to mention. So we have TK Mao who says maybe Japan should ban American immigration. Well, she lived in Japan, so she may have dual citizenship there, TK, so it might be too late. Stirring Up says the Fed is the devil. I mean, that depends on how you stand on it. It's really, there's only so many choices that you can have when it comes to, I mean, are you a libertarian arguing that we need to have a central bank? Do we need to have an actual government entity for banking? Is that what you're arguing? Because we already do have one, but the Federal Reserve is its own private bank, and there's a reason for that. TK also says Ben Shapiro is a good lawyer, not a compliment. He's a good debater, I'll tell you that. I've seen him debate people, and he's good at debater. He outclasses people all the time, but he's also not a wholly honest debater. If you watch his debate, he uses his debating tactics. He uses a lot of underhanded tactics to win arguments. And I've seen a few videos explaining that, where he will intentionally corner the people he's debating by offering his own opinion and then one other opinion that he can just deconstruct completely as the actual argument, try to force his opposition to take up that other argument. And a lot of times people fall into that. And it's a dishonest way of arguing. He does that in a few other things all the time. And so he's good at debate, but it doesn't really make him honest. And it doesn't make him right either. Just because you win debates doesn't mean you're right. And, okay, we're still good there. So now we will turn to this article, which I actually liked. Now, the thing that I didn't like was that there's a lot of people in this. Rachel Weisz is actually the wife of Daniel Craig. And people were saying, oh, well, of course she's going to say this because she's the wife of Daniel Craig. Daniel Craig hates being James Bond. I've seen at least 3 articles interviewing Daniel Craig where he outright says that he fucking hates playing James Bond and he wants to stop. Maybe at some point he's changed his mind because the money's good, but every single time I've seen him talk about this, he's said that he hates being James Bond. And I mean, if he quits, that's fine by me. I want somebody to come in that's more akin to, Sean Connery of the past, or somebody that's closer to the older versions of James Bond. I think that Daniel Craig was a step in the wrong direction. The last movie, which I'm forgetting the name of, Skyfall was the one before it. I like Skyfall. It's the first James Bond I've liked in the modern era of any of the Daniel Craig movies. But the one after that with that character actor that was in Inglourious Bastards and Django Unchained, he was shit in that movie. He played Blofeld in that. The movie was trash. And it's probably, I guess, of the modern Daniel Craig movies, is probably my least favorite. I think it may be the worst in my opinion, but I don't really like any of them but Skyfall of the modern era. And that's not even true for the Pierce Brosnan ones. I liked a few of the Pierce Brosnan ones. What is it? Tomorrow Never Dies? Is that what it is? I think that's the one with... yes, it is. And it's because it's for a few reasons, but it's let's see here. Where is it? People have heard me talk about this before. Jonathan Pierce is Elliot Carver. He was fucking great. He was great. He's one of the best Bond villains in my opinion. He plays a media mogul. He's like a combination of Steve Jobs, the guy that runs Fox News, Fox Corp. I forget the guy's name. He's an Australian that is like a media mogul, and I think one other person. And I thought he was a brilliant villain. I think he may be the best one of the Pierce Brosnan era. So I like that movie. But obviously, people have their criticisms of Pierce Brosnan as Bond and in the Brosnan era. But I like that one. I will defend Tomorrow Never Dies. I like that one. But getting back to this article, the wife of Daniel Craig, who herself I believe is an actress, either came out and said this or was interviewed. Okay, yeah, he apparently Daniel Craig is coming back for another James Bond, and but it's got to be still in pre-production because there's still no director, so they might be just like still scripting it or whatever, or coming up with a screenplay. Is she a fucking actress? I think she is. Whatever. Anyway, she came out and talked to the Telegraph about this, and she had a very good complaint. And so let's read this. Rachel Weisz doesn't want to see a female James Bond, saying she believes women should get their own stories. So what she's saying is that there's a lot of feminist and ideological emphasis on seeing one of two things happen with James Bond, because James Bond is one of the very old masculine franchises. It is a male-dominated franchise. I know that there are women that like James Bond, but I know more women that hate James Bond than I know women that actually like James Bond in my own life. The girlfriends that I've had, a few of them, they've hated James Bond. My mother hates James Bond. My friend's close friend's sister hates James Bond. The girls that I've known in college that I've talked to them, that I recall talking to them about James Bond because of the movie that came out, they hated James Bond. I maybe online. That's been the only occasion that I've ever run into a woman that's like James Bond. But I've run into many women that hate it as a franchise. And so when women say that they want to see Idris Elba play James Bond or a woman play James Bond, it is for no other reason than to try to conquer it as a cultural platform. They want to use James Bond as a franchise to promote basically a feminine position or feminist propaganda. They want it to be their movie. They don't want it to be the male staple that it is. And this is helpful. It helps that a female actress, or at a minimum the wife of Daniel Craig, who is playing James Bond, comes out and says that women should get their own stories, which is shorthand for make your own fucking movie. Make your own fucking movie. Make your own franchise. Guess what? As we can see with many different movies that have come out that have had female action leads, they don't really do that well. The only one that I know that did well in recent memory that I haven't even seen was Wonder Woman. That's the one movie that I know that did well that had a female in the star lead. Outside of that, it's like, Kill Bill and like a handful of others that I can recall that left any, resonance, or what would be the word? I don't know, left any kind of actual staple in movies. Outside of like a handful of movies that I'm aware of, there really aren't many movies that had a female lead that were all that good in terms of an action role. Because women in action roles just don't work that well, in my opinion. They can work to some extent as like supporting characters. For example, Trinity in The Matrix. I think she was very well, especially she had a lot of screen time in the second movie. I thought she was really good. And the actress that played her as well. So there is a role for women in action, but in the starring role, I really take issue with it. I don't think that it works just as much. I know that in gaming, there are exceptions that everyone can name drop, but in film, it really doesn't work. Like, I went to the movies with my close friend, and we saw The Last Jedi, which is, that's sci-fi. Well, yeah, it's sci-fi. It's not so much action as it is sci-fi, but Mary Sue Ray, and we saw it was some like spot for like a spy thriller with a female lead that looked like shit. And I love thrillers. I love spy movies. It looked like shit to me. There was another one with a head of female lead, Tomb Raider. That's another movie that's coming out. There's a Tomb Raider movie coming out, and it's like, I don't fucking care. You're going to do the watered down SJW. You're not going to do the real scary moments of the game. You're going to make her look unkillable. You're going to make her look super strong. You're going to make her look ridiculous and like a Mary Sue. You're not going to actually play her up as a woman in an extremely dangerous setting. You're not going to do it. You don't have the balls to do it. I know it. I know that. If the movie comes out and people want to call me out and say that I'm wrong, fine. By all means, have that be the case, that happens. I'll be pleasantly surprised. But I highly doubt it. They don't have the balls for that to happen. It's going to be another watered-down Mary Sue Fest. It's going to be another bad video game-based movie. It's going to be a joke. And I'm not going to bother to see it. So I guess we can... I don't really feel like carrying on with this article, but it's ultimately the summary of the article. She says that women should just stop trying to basically glom onto male-dominated franchises. Because like I said, I don't know any women that like James Bond, so why should James Bond cater to women when women are not the fucking audience of James Bond? Every woman that I know in my real life hates fucking James Bond. Why should James Bond as a franchise cater to women when it is not their franchise? Women aren't filling the seats. It's men. And I haven't been satisfied with James Bond as a franchise for fucking years. So as a long-term fan of James Bond, why don't you listen to the wife of your fucking star? The guy that so badly wants to get out of playing James Bond. Why don't you listen to her? Women should get their own stories. If you got to write a screenplay with a female lead, go do it. Just don't call her Jane Bond. All right? And I've defended this. I've said that there are like the hard-boiled detective stories that you would see like with a Max Payne. I think there could be a Maxine Payne. People that are long-term subscribers of mine, you've heard me say that I do think that there are action stories that I do think could work with well-written female leads. But the problem is with Hollywood, I don't think they're fucking capable. They're a lot like Western gaming. They don't seem to be capable of actually making well-written female characters. They're either Mary Sue's stereotypes or just flat fucking characters. That seems to be their forte for fucking characters, especially in sci-fi, action. Just go on from there. Fantasy. There are notable exceptions, but they seem to be the exceptions. So I guess we'll leave it there. Yeah, we'll just do this to make fun of fucking the Cato Institute. So the Cato Institute, which I don't really like, they're a libertarian / corporatist think tank. And apparently they're now under allegations for widespread harassment. Yeah, they apparently, yeah, okay, whatever, I don't care. Yeah, I mean, that's really the crux of it. They're now under allegations that they have a poor work environment and that their former president of their think tank was a fucking harasser and blah, 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 blah. So, haha, Cato Institute, that's pretty much my summary. Get fucked. And we'll wait on this one because I'm not sure if I'm going to do the Andrew Sullivan piece because it's longer and there's actually a lot to it. But let's just carry forward. What the? Oh. See, this is what happens when I click off the chat. Now it's got to catch up. I guess I'll go back. It's still catching up. So, yeah, this is just a quick article from The Guardian where it just says that there's, and this appears to be true, and there's another video that I've yet to watch, and it's why I'm not going to talk about it here, but there appears to be a lot of coordinated pressure on YouTube right now to essentially censor certain people. And one of the names that keeps coming up is Alex Jones. That appears to be one of the big names of people that they want to see censored. But the people that they want to see censored are independent right-wing commentators, journalists, so-called, and platforms like Breitbart or anyone that's associated with Breitbart, formerly like Milo, who's on YouTube, and Paul Joseph Watson, likely especially, because he's associated with Alex Jones. But yeah, this is just an article talking about another example of somebody in power, in this case, a Mark Warner, who's a senator from, I forget which, Virginia. But yeah, he's basically trying to put pressure onto Google and YouTube to censor certain right-wing outlets. And I just thought I would mention it again. That's not stopping. This is from, when's this from? The 5th. And there's an article actually I saw from today that's similar to this. And there was a video, Wojcicki, Susan Wojcicki of YouTube was at some sort of conference, and she got put on the spot by the host, and I've yet to watch the full video. The host just put her on the spot and was like, yeah, Alex Jones, this person, that person, why don't you just ban them? She literally put her on the spot. Why don't you just ban them? And she gave a really ridiculous mealy-mouthed answer, but I want to watch that full segment. But yeah, she's being pressured from all sides. The CEO herself is being pressured from all sides to censor right-wing commentators on YouTube. And if you think that she has a backbone not to do it, you're fucking insane. So keep your eyes peeled for Susan Wojcicki come out and ban a bunch of fucking people because they're not far left fucking retards. So this was a big story from the other day. Apparently, where the fuck was he? He's in Saudi Arabia or Qatar? Or no, he was in the UAE. So fucking Robert De Niro, for whatever fucking reason, was giving a speech in the United Arab Emirates. How do you fucking say it? I know how to fucking say the right way. God damn it. Emirates. That's how you say it. So Robert De Niro was in the UAE giving a speech for some odd reason. And apparently he went on some fucking random rant about how the United States is basically in a dark place and it's suffering from temporary... The United States is suffering from temporary insanity. Not fucking Robert De Niro suffering from Trump derangement syndrome because he's a fucking 3-decade long multi-millionaire, just super insider of fucking Hollywood. And he's like a partisan like Democrat who wanted Queen Hillary to win because she's a girl, and that's about it. It was ridiculous. The speech he went on was fucking insane, and the worst part of it was he went over to a fucking shithole country. The UAE is a terrible fucking Muslim country, a terrible country of like super rich oil sheiks and just peasant slave labor. Like that is 90% of that country. Oil rich sheiks and fucking peasant slave labor. And so he goes over there giving some speech for whatever reason, and he calls the United States a backward country. And it's like, Robert De Niro, like, you made millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars playing criminals in the United States. Like, you acted and made millions of fucking dollars in the United States, in Hollywood. Like, everything that you have is because of the opportunities in the United States. Like, if you want to say, oh, I went to this rural part of Louisiana and it was really backward because it's not like Hollywood, then it's like, oh, you have this Hollywood elitist calling someplace backward. But it's like, no, you're calling the whole country backward. Why? You know, it's just because Trump pulled out of the Paris agreements as it relates to global warming, and I think he didn't fully get out of it. I think he actually walked it back. But it's like, you know, one fucking thing, is that it? Is that the whole fucking reason why? It's like, and the thing is too, is I like, people can say whatever they want to about me, is that I'm not completely unsympathetic to people arguing that climate change is something important, that it's something we should be paying an eye, you know, keeping an eye on and paying attention to. I'm not completely unsympathetic to that. You know, I do understand that there is a real debate as it relates to, you know, global environment, national environment, local environment. I'm more than willing to engage in that kind of debate because in many ways there is a trade-off between, let's say, some kind of project, which is typically going to involve bidding and potentially labor, you know, construction or maintenance or whatever. So you can have a project, let's say an oil pipeline that's built by union labor, which puts food on the table for working class individuals. You know, men like my father, once upon a time before his injury. You'd be the kind of person that may wind up having to, you know, do work on a very controversial project such as an oil pipeline. And that's the trade-off, is the work and the revenue from a project that turns into an enterprise, which, you know, granted, the construction is going to be a lot bigger than the maintenance of that kind of thing, but it's still work. It's still food on the table. It's still a project. It's still something that labor unions can actually take advantage of, and it's good for America. It's good for Americans. The problem is the trade-off of environment, especially local environment. So I think there is a debate to be had, but the thing is that if you're sitting here talking about, and he isn't, but if you're concerned about the working man, and especially about union labor, you have to be concerned about what kind of projects are out there. And my opinion is that if there's a project out there that's up for grabs, I want to go into a labor union because I know that it's very likely going to be built right under safe conditions. You're not going to have fucking people dying, hopefully. And it's going to be good for a lot of people. And I think conservatives need to back away from the idea that unions are just going to be backing Democrats, because one of the things that I have is a slew of articles saying that there's a lot of big unions out there that have walked away from the Democratic Party, and truly have. They've walked away from the Democratic Party saying, you had your chance, you didn't do shit for us, so we're walking away from you. And unfortunately, with a lot of conservatives, is that they look at a teachers union, and then they look at a blue collar labor union, and they see the same union. And it's just like, I really wish conservatives would stop being so dogmatic about labor. I really wish. I mean, you guys kind of cuck yourselves because you're overly sympathetic to investors for no obvious reason. I wish people would explain to me why the right generally is so consumed with concern for investors, and while they pay lip service to concern about blue-collar labor, they don't really do much for them, ever. Outside of greenlighting projects such as oil pipelines, maybe that, but I kind of doubt you really want to go into labor unions. You probably wanted to go to cheap labor that's come over the fucking border. It's a lot cheaper that way. But yeah, I love Robert De Niro in terms of being an actor. I really wish he would do pretty much what every Hollywood millionaire should do, and that includes a lot of fucking people that are detached from reality and have been for a long time. I think you need to donate a decent amount of money that you have. You need to move out of fucking California. You need to move somewhere more rural and just get out more. Stop going to cocktail parties. Stop going to Washington, D.C. parties. Stop, hanging around with people of the exact same shitty mindset. Start hanging out with some average people and try to ground yourself back to reality again. Because you look like a fucking retard when you do this kind of shit. And it's not just Robert De Niro. It's anybody. Anybody that goes out there and says shit like this, you look fucking ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. Like, this is something that you couldn't satire. Going to a fucking country with it's an oligarchy. It's an oligarchy with a noble family that runs the fucking government. And that government backs fucking terrorists. I mean, they likely financed the fucking people that drove planes into the fucking World Trade Center. Like, I really... Yeah, I mean, it includes the UAE. I don't care who it is, whether it's Saudi Arabia, who had a direct connection, UAE, Qatar. They all had their hands in the pockets of terrorists, and that includes Al-Qaeda. So I don't trust any of them. I really don't. And the last thing I'd be doing going over to one of these countries is basically bad-mouthing the United States. I think that is a really backward thing to do. It's a very detached thing to do, and I really wish that Robert De Niro didn't do this because, like I said, I really like Robert De Niro in terms of being an actor. I think that he is a very talented person, even in his old age. But he shouldn't be doing shit like this. He needs to donate his money. He needs to ground himself back to reality, and he needs to get out of California. For his own sake. I'm not even saying that somebody like, oh, I like him as an actor, therefore whatever. Just he needs to get out of fucking California. It's such a fucking wasteland of groupthink. So this is another short, quick, haha, fuck the Young Turks and Kyle Kulinski especially. So Kyle Kulinski got a smear piece written up by Cassandra Fairbanks, who is a friend of Tim Pool, who's some chick. I guess she's like I don't know if pundit would be the right word, a writer for the Gateway Pundit, which is a right-wing site. I haven't really seen much by her. I don't know. I think she's considered alt-right or new right. I'm not 100% sure, but I know that Tim Pool knows her, and that she's like mildly attractive, I think. Forget which. But she wrote a smear piece on Kyle Kulinski, for being a hypocrite. But it's because he's a fucking virtue signaler, and he's insufferable. So what she did is she looked up a whole shitload of old tweets of Kyle Kalinske making jokes, making racial statements about Asians, about blacks, things we all hate. Hashtag things we all hate, Asian drivers. Saying the word nigger, or sorry, nigga. There's a big difference, by the way. Big difference. Saying nigga another time, saying nigga another time, saying saying hashtag Negro, calling someone apparently Negro. Apparently someone questioning about him using see, this is where I give Kyle credit. Let me zoom in. Can I zoom in, please? Okay, it's not responding. Just reset it. He called somebody a faggot, and I thought that was funny. I laughed when I saw that. Apparently he got 1 like. I don't even know who he said it to. Like, it's a weird tweet because it doesn't have an @ next to it, so I can't really see the context of this tweet, but it appears to be a real tweet because you have Cassandra's profile right here. But it had 1 like, and it's from June 2nd, 2016, where it just says, "Thanks, faggots," with no other context. But I laughed at that one because it sounds like something I would say. He's asking who is a bigger whore, or whore, as one would say. He says Elizabeth Hasselbeck confuses his penis. That was from 2012. Kesha needs to say fuck it and just make a song called "I'm a Whore," and that's from November 7th, 2011 by Kyle Kalinske. So yeah, this is really just a smear piece, I want to say. But he did say this shit by all appearances. And this is what you get when you virtue signal. I don't virtue signal. The only time that I get anywhere close to virtue signaling, where I make it moral, which is essentially what virtue signaling is. I mean, virtue signaling is virtuing for the sake of your own ego, but as it relates to moralizing, we'll say the closest thing that I get to is getting genuinely upset about people censoring art or desecrating art, whatever. That's when I'll get moral. I say that you are immoral if you do such a thing. Outside of that, I don't really virtue signal. I just mock people, make dumb jokes, make self-deprecating jokes. You know, I really don't take myself all that seriously, I think. I really don't think that I do enough to embarrass myself ultimately like this. Like, if somebody were to make a smear piece on me, I don't really think you could have this, where I say one thing and I say it over and over again. Like, don't say, if you ever say the word nigger, then you're a bad person. And then, oh, here's 12 different clips of Louis saying fucking nigger. Like, I really don't think you're ever going to get me doing that. I really don't think you're ever going to get me doing something like that, because I don't really do much in the way of condemning people for certain things that I don't also adhere to. There's very few things that I would do in that situation where you could get me on, because that's what this is getting him on him being two-faced, him being hypocrite, him looking stupid. Because I'm fairly consistent in what I say. I repeat myself quite a bit. So, and if somebody has something where I'm a hypocrite, or I'm two-faced, or I say one thing and did something else and I'm genuinely meaning it, it's not a joke or what have you, and I'm moralizing, I'm getting in my own soapbox saying this or whatever, by all means point it out to me and I'll correct it. By all means point it out. But this is the kind of thing that you get embarrassed for, Kyle. Not that you'll ever fucking watch my channel or ever speak to me. You're fucking obnoxious, and you are egotistic, and you have the awareness of a fucking cinder block. Fuck you, Kyle. I hope eventually you get kicked off of the Young Turks network. And I say that knowing that apparently Jimmy Dore is in some hot water. I've heard there's been rumors and he addressed it a few times in the last couple of videos of his. He's addressed that there's a lot of rumors going around about him being in bad or in a bad position and in hot water with Cenk Uygur. Because there was a live show where Cenk showed up, and Cenk just sat there awkwardly the whole fucking show. Jimmy Dore does these live shows where he just rants and shit and has like a few guests. And Cenk was there, and every video I saw him in, he just sat there sort of laughing occasionally awkwardly and just looking awkward. So it wouldn't surprise me if Jimmy Dore is actually in hot water with Cenk Uygur, because Cenk Uygur has turned really hard towards being a corporate dickhead. Like Kyle Kalinske will forever be the fucking obnoxious progressive that he is. But Cenk Uygur appears to be heading towards corporate at 100 miles an hour. And it's funny watching all the fucking hangers-on of him, like Kyle, basically just very slowly come to that realization. But they will eventually, hopefully, come to that realization that Cenk Uygur is a corporate puppet. He doesn't do anything that isn't sanctioned at this point. He's not his own man as he used to be anymore. He's just a fucking virtue signaling corporatist. I guess we'll get to the Quentin Tarantino. So, what was it last week? Yeah, last week, all in one day, I think it was 1 or 2 days, a whole shitload of smear pieces came out about Quentin Tarantino, and I really didn't like that, because unlike someone like Robert De Niro, who I'm not going to bother to defend because the only reason I like him is as an actor, I've seen a whole slew of interviews with Quentin Tarantino, and Quentin Tarantino is a semi-neurotic, plucky, talkative, excitable, decent person by everything that I've seen of him. Is he a very oddball guy? Does he have fetishes? Yeah. You know, he's an odd guy. He's out there. He really is. I think that you can see it in his films, that he has very real talent, unlike someone like Roman Polanski, who's done like one fucking film in 40 fucking years ever since he raped a child. But unlike, you know, Roman Polanski, Quentin Tarantino has had nothing but hit after box office, bestseller, or however you would say it, just bonanza. You know, the guy is golden and is currently involved in the next Star Trek movie, which I hope that he does, and it comes out, because I think it's going to be the best of the modern Star Trek movies, which really, in my opinion, haven't been very good. A Star Trek movie with Quentin Tarantino, that'll be some next level shit. Not just because it's Quentin Tarantino, but it's because of his talent. You know that he's going to go into it 100% looking to make it a fucking massive hit, and to be incredibly provocative, as all his films are. So I like Quentin Tarantino. I like him as a director, as a creative personality, and as a person. You know, I've seen him interviewed multiple times on Howard Stern. I've seen him interviewed generally, like, you know, on the red carpet. I've seen him talk to people, and he does appear to be somewhat grounded, unlike Robert De Niro or other Hollywood millionaires. He seems to be a fairly oddball, but yet grounded person. But the thing is that he has his quirks. He's odd. He does have fetishes. He appears to have like a few different fetishes. One of the fetishes that was established in Howard Stern is that he appears to have a foot fetish, which I find infinitely funny, because they fucking ribbed him for like a half an hour based on his basically just implying that he has a foot fetish and him never conceding it, but basically entertaining the idea. That was from a long time ago, but that was so funny. They were really getting under his skin with that shit. But yeah, he's an odd dude. But a long time ago, apparently, and I forgot what this was. When was this? 2002. No. When was it? Yeah, 2003. So Tarantino was on Howard Stern in 2003. So we're talking about, I'm still in middle school, I believe. Yeah, I'm still in middle school. So I'm still in middle school, and Tarantino is on Howard Stern. And he says that he doesn't believe that Roman Polanski raped the girl that he raped. So I don't understand why there's this need, and this is the thing. Quentin Tarantino is in no way alone in defending this fucking disgusting child rapist who apparently has some kind of talent, although I've never seen any of his movies. There are a lot of people in Hollywood that, for whatever reason, defend Roman Polanski, even though he unequivocally raped a girl. Unequivocally raped a girl. A 13-year-old girl. He raped her. He drugged her and fucking raped her in 1977. Apparently at Jack Nicholson's house for whatever fucking reason. Jack Nicholson, what are you doing? This is indefensible. Especially in the climate now where every accusation is truth. This guy legitimately fucking raped a girl. And yet everyone in Hollywood defends him. And I haven't the fucking clue why. I have no idea why someone would defend this guy after he raped a girl and literally fled the country to escape charges. He fled this country to escape being indicted, jailed, and then likely convicted of being a fucking child rapist. Someone who drugged and forced himself on a 13-year-old girl. Fled the country for that. And yet he's defended, top to bottom in Hollywood. And I do not understand why. I legitimately do not understand why Hollywood defends him. I don't get it. If someone wants to explain that, by all means, explain it to me. I don't fucking get it. But regardless of that, Tarantino was one of the many, 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 many fucking Hollywood people that defended him and did so stupidly on Howard Stern in 2003. And so this was one of the smear pieces that came out, and there were a whole slew of them condemning him for fucking what? 15 years ago, saying this, making this stupid comment, defending this guy who everyone in Hollywood has defended. So take a guess what Quentin Tarantino does. Take a guess what he does. Do you think he comes out and he says, oh no, Roman Polanski's a genius and fuck that little girl, I would have raped her too? Like, do you think that's what Quentin Tarantino says? No. Quentin Tarantino comes out and just throws himself on the mercy of everyone and grovels in his apology for what he said fucking 15 years ago. And it's like, what did anyone expect? This is the thing. This is how, Quentin Tarantino has never shown himself not to be a decent person. So the fact that this is one of the smears that were done against him, it's like, what the fuck do you think he was going to say? Of course he's fucking going to apologize and disown what he said 15 fucking years ago about this guy that everyone in Hollywood calls a genius and lavishes with praise. So, yeah, this pissed me off. Because it's like, this is what you would expect. He's a decent person. He's going to throw himself and beg for mercy that he's sorry. He didn't mean it. And that's what he did. He did multiple interviews. He released multiple statements saying that he's sorry to the victim, that he's wrong, that he realizes that he was wrong, that he incorrectly played devil's advocate. I don't know how true that is, but he claims he was doing it for the sake of being provocative, which I don't necessarily. I think he was doing it for the sake of, here's, by the way, another Natalie Portman in an action movie. Who cares? I think he was doing it for the sake of kissing up to other people in Hollywood. But it's like, if you called him out on this is, of course, what he's going to say. I never expected him to do anything but this. To throw himself on the mercy of these scumbag cocksuckers that smeared him and apologize. And that's precisely what he did. But the thing is that it's not the only fucking thing he was smeared for. Literally, on the same fucking day. No, okay, so it was on the same day of the original smear. But he had two smears come out at once. So Uma Thurman had some kind of interview or piece with the New York Times, and I don't have that article handy. They have it here. The New York Times basically talked to Uma Thurman because she was apparently assaulted by Harvey Weinstein. I don't know what the validity of that is, whether it's actually being pursued or not. I don't know. Uma Thurman appears to be a decent person. It may be true. I don't know. But Harvey Weinstein fucked around with a lot of different women. He appears to be someone that likely is guilty in many cases. Probably not every single one, but probably a bunch. So she talked about what happened with Harvey Weinstein. But one of the things that came out from that interview was the fact that she was injured on the set of Kill Bill. So Uma Thurman went to, and this is what happened. Okay, I'm explaining what happened. Harvey Weinstein was, he had some part with Tarantino on Kill Bill. Uma Thurman came to Tarantino regarding some kind of footage he had for a car crash when she got injured on the set of Kill Bill. So Uma Thurman came to Quentin Tarantino and asked him for the footage of a deleted take when she got injured on the set. So Tarantino went way out of his way, because he's friends with Uma Thurman, went out of his way to have an employee go into the archive, dig up the actual footage, like the original cut, the footage that was a bad take of her getting hurt. The assistant found the footage, and Tarantino apparently hand delivered the footage to Uma Thurman for whatever reason. I forgot why she wanted it, but this is 15 years after the movie happened. 15 years later, Tarantino drops everything, goes and finds the footage, hand delivers it to her. Why? Because that's who Tarantino is. He's friends with Uma Thurman. He knows her. He's known her for a long time, and he's a decent person. So he does that for her. She talks about the car crash, and I'm not going to get into the story of the car crash, but it's essentially, it was a mishap. It was a mistake. It was Tarantino mistakenly put her on a set that he wasn't aware was dangerous. Apparently, Uma Thurman is a notoriously terrible driver. Uma Thurman crashed. She got injured, and it's partly because of Tarantino unknowingly, and it's also because of her, because she's a bad driver, and she should learn how to fucking drive because she's a goddamn adult. She can't even do a stunt where she drives down a fucking straight road. It's pathetic. So she got injured on the set because of that. And the New York Times, by Maureen Dowd, who's a notorious cunt. Maureen Dowd is a notorious cunt who writes for the New York Times. And she's one of the people that helped us get into Iraq. She was getting intel from Dick Cheney, and she was printing it as if it was inside sources regarding why we should go into Iraq. There was all this evidence that they have these WNDs and all this other shit. Maureen Dowd was just printing bullshit coming straight from Dick Cheney. She helped get us in. It was front page New York Times. She helped us get into Iraq. And she's the one that did this piece. And all it was nothing but a fucking smear piece against Tarantino, saying that he's a harasser and he almost killed Uma Thurman because he's a fucking misogynist. It was a absurd smear piece, a absurd, defamatory, ridiculous smear piece that was so absurd, so ridiculous and false, that Tarantino released multiple statements, did multiple interviews. This is exclusive, but this is not the only interview he did, trying to basically say that Uma Thurman getting hurt on the set of Kill Bill was one of the worst moments in his entire career, because he's friends with Uma Thurman. He likes her as a person and is friends with her, and felt terrible after he in part was guilty. It was partly his fault for her getting hurt on the set, and she was apparently severely injured. It was a ridiculous defamatory piece that completely demonized him as a person, made him seem like this tyrannical bully misogynist who just casts women aside as nothing more than objects for him to dispose of. like, you can go read the original piece. I'll link all this in the description after this, but it was a ridiculous fucking article. And it was so bad that Uma Thurman, who worked with Maureen Dowd to make this article regarding Harvey Weinstein, she came out later. Uma Thurman came out later and basically said, this is totally false. You know, I like Quentin Tarantino. I'm friends with him. He did everything to help me out in this situation. It's not his fault for when I got injured. You know, she completely debunked the entire portion of the article that blamed Tarantino for her injury. Like, and she did it like on the same day because of how bad this article was. And the thing is, too, is that there were so many, it was like trending all over Twitter for 2 days straight, just universally condemning Quentin Tarantino as a fucking misogynist who hurts women. Like, equating him to Harvey Weinstein because they have a relationship. He knew Harvey Weinstein. And after Harvey Weinstein started having all the accusations against him, one of the first fucking people to come out and condemn himself for keeping his mouth shut and taking part in the silence, unlike so many other people that just pretended as though they didn't know Harvey Weinstein, Quentin Tarantino came out, said he knew Harvey Weinstein, said he heard about the rumors, knew about them some himself, and condemned himself for his own silence. He's one of the very fucking few people that did that and apologized. One of the very fucking few. Everyone else just pretended they didn't know who the fuck Harvey Weinstein was. He actually came out, admitted he knew that something was going on, and condemned himself for keeping his mouth shut. So I find it incredibly ridiculous that out of all the people to go after and to smear, very coincidentally on the same fucking day, just ever so fucking coincidentally, 2 fucking smears in like 8 or 9 different articles, all on the same fucking day. Such a fucking coincidence. Of all the fucking people in Hollywood, it's not Robert De Niro going overseas condemning the United States as backwards while in a fucking slave empire. You know, it's Quentin Tarantino who continues to fall all over himself to apologize for his mistakes in life. That's the guy we got to fucking condemn. This genius who produces nothing but gold, and if not just gold, provocative content that is so unlike everything else that fucking Hollywood is shitting out. No, we have to condemn this guy because he's made mistakes in life and has owned up to every single fucking one of them. You know, fuck Maureen Dowd and fuck anyone that smears Quentin Tarantino. Maureen Dowd, you should be in a fucking jail cell. You helped us get into Iraq. Fuck you, you miserable cunt. Please die. You are worthless. You're beyond worthless. You are a detriment to our society. Please die. And I don't really know how much I want to continue on talking about Hollywood, but a French actress who is aged and is now older and is pretty much retired as far as I can tell. This is an old article from January, but she makes the point that and this is something that I believe is true, is she says the vast majority of actresses claiming sexual harassment are hypocrites, and this is the reason why, that they used their own sexuality to get ahead. That they charmed men, they fucked men, they blew men, and they got ahead. That's how they got ahead. Some women said no. Some women sucked off to Harvey Weinstein, and they got ahead. They got the part because they blew a guy. And then 20 years, 30 years, 40 years later, they cry about being victims. You know, some women were harassed. Some women appear to be forced upon. Roman Polanski raped a little girl. I'm sure he's not the only rapist in fucking Hollywood. Harvey Weinstein, by all appearances, appears to be a really screwed up fucking person who should probably go to jail because he appears to be doing all kinds of crazy shit. But the fact is that there are a lot of actresses or actors, is more accurately the word to describe who these people are. They're hypocrites because they used the casting couch to get ahead. They used that system of creepy fucking awkward guys that they sucked off to get ahead. That's part of the fucking game in Hollywood. And guess what? The whole Me Too bullshit ain't going to change it. I don't care if this goes on for the next 10 fucking years. It ain't going to change Hollywood. At the end of the day, you're going to have some fat 6'4" awkward fucking Jews in Hollywood. They're going to say, hey, girlie, you want to fucking part in my next flick below me? And she's going to get on her knees, open her mouth and say, come on, let's go. I want that fucking starring role. And nothing's going to fucking change. Because that's the system. That's Hollywood. They go on and they fucking lecture everyone about morals and virtue and everything else. They've always been hypocrites. It's always been a toxic environment of whores looking to get ahead and like awkward as shit Jews looking to get laid. That's been the whole fucking system in Hollywood, and it ain't never gonna fucking change. And I'm not saying Jews to malign Jews. I'm just saying that there are a lot of Jews in Hollywood, and Harvey Weinstein is no exception. He's a creepy Jew, and he creeped on a lot of whores, and he got a lot of action, and he also probably hurt a lot of innocent girls. But that's fucking Hollywood. Harvey Weinstein is no exception. He was one of the biggest faces in fucking Hollywood. You think he's the only guy like that? Hell no. He's just a prime example. They were making fun of him in fucking Tropic Thunder. Les Grossman, that was literally Harvey Weinstein. They were satirizing Harvey Weinstein as a fucking lunatic, creepy, like over-the-top fucking maniac, but ultimately seriously successful person in Hollywood. Like, that's the system. That's what it is. Not every guy is Harvey Weinstein. Not every girl's getting on the casting couch to push herself ahead. But ultimately, you know, Hollywood's a fucking dump. This is what it is. It's always been this way. Since the beginning of it, it has always been this way. You know, and this is the thing. Like, I don't know what to tell people. Get me on a panel. Get me on the panel with Robert De Niro lecturing America about Trump. I'm just going to go, dude, you're a multimillionaire, seriously successful guy in Hollywood that is nothing but a cesspit of casting couches and Harvey Weinsteins. That is the whole fucking city, or the whole district in the city of Los Angeles. That's California. You know? You're going to come out here and lecture about the rest of America? Hollywood's a fucking dump. You know, what do you want to say? You are in no position to lecture anyone about anything. There's no way Robert De Niro didn't know what was going on with Harvey Weinstein. He's probably like everyone else who knew about it and just kept his fucking mouth shut. Because why? He's looking to get money. Looking to get famous. Looking to get laid in his own right. He's not going to cock block Harvey Weinstein when he's chasing his own self-interest. That's Hollywood. So let's move on from that. I'm not sure. This is actually a good article. I'm not sure if I want to cover it this time or just end it because we've been going for quite a long time. I think, you know what, we'll save this for another time. It's a good article. And Andrew Sullivan's kind of a dickhead, but this was a very good article from him. If you watch Real Time, you'll have seen Andrew Sullivan on there a million times. Do they have a picture of him? He's like this really, I think he's a gay dude because he has this really weird gay affectation. Yeah, there he is. This is Andrew Sullivan right here. If you've ever seen Real Time with Bill Maher, he's on there all the fucking time. Here's a picture of him on Real Time right here. Yeah, he's gay. Yeah, he's a really like a partisan, I think Democrat. Like I can't really place his politics outside of like an Obama loyalist, very, very bourgeois left, we'll say. Very bourgeois left. But the thing is though, this is a like you could say whatever you want to about him. I don't like him personally. I don't like him, but this was a very good article by him, and I know that I'm kind of playing it up, but I'll talk about it another time because I'm considering what I want to do with this. I might have a hangout where we go through this because the whole article is great. It's a fucking long article too, but it's a great article. So I might do it another time. I'll just save it for later. So we got some super chats that we got to pound through. Congrats on figuring out Zionist neocon Shapiro was kind of bad. Thanks, LM. Timothy Riggs says the unions I have a problem with is AFSCME and other government employee unions. Well, the thing is, Tim, if you're still listening to this, because this is from like a half hour ago, is that there is a difference between private sector labor unions and the government union, or the public sector unions. The public sector unions are kind of fucked up and corrupt. I'm not going to defend them, just because like I've had to deal with them enough, and I've investigated people that are union, that are public sector, and the unions are kind of corrupt, and they kind of work with the state to just come to settlements when they really shouldn't. I've investigated more than one person who was a cop and a couple that were corrections officers that were very likely guilty of fraud, and the entity that I won't name, that is not it's not their union. Who you'd expect them to have their back no matter what, even if they are, committing fraud. This other entity, which should be in direct opposition to them, just went along with him and just settled. When even in the one case, the video that I did where I was screaming at the top of my lungs, where I was talking about a case that was settled and I was supposed to testify at, that one was ridiculous. That guy got hundreds of thousands of dollars and it was all fraud, and he paid back like some whatever percentage of it. That was because this certain entity in New York just settled for no fucking reason when they really should have pushed the case. They even had a good lawyer. The lawyer that was representing them was like it was from his own firm. I talked with him and I was confident. I was like, wow, this guy really knows his shit. He can win this fucking case. We were about to go see the judge and they settled for no fucking reason. And they shouldn't have. They shouldn't have settled. They should have fought it all the way, and they should have made an example out of that guy, because corrections officers in New York State are out of control in terms of fraud. So, Tim, you're not going to get me to defend public sector unions. But they're, again, teachers unions, public sector unions is not labor unions. Just go talk to some people. Like the craziest shit you're going to see from public sector unions, they're not what you're going to see with private sector labor unions. They're not the same. It's a circle jerk of tax money feeding into unions that are very politically active. Well, that is true. Public sector unions are very politically active. You are correct about that, Tim. TK says Kyle is cucked too much for me to respect him. You and I, TK, are on the same page. Tim Riggs says again, on Polanski, Hollywood old guard loved him. He was married to Sharon Tate, who that name sounds familiar, and was fetishized for it. I don't know. Why would he be fetishized for being married to Sharon Tate? He was an Oscar winner too, I think. Yeah, I believe he won one or two Oscars. One was, he did some movie called The Pianist, which he published in exile from the United States, that he won an Oscar for. LM says that he hopes that Tarantino gets cancer because of this rant. Fuck you, LM. Thank you for your support, but fuck you. So let me catch up with the chat, because we haven't caught up just yet, and I'll check Twatter and Gab for any questions there. But get ready to ask some questions as soon as I check back. Okay, those are clear. And chat still hasn't caught up. It's catching up. Oh, let me type something. Okay, I don't know. The chat's going 100 miles an hour. So Tim says Sharon Tate was pregnant with Polanski's baby when the Manson family murdered her. Wow. Didn't know. Oh, yeah, that's where I remember that name from. Okay. Yeah. You're probably, I can't see your image completely here, Tim, but you strike me as older than myself, because that seems like a very old reference to have on hand. No offense. I don't mean to say like you're a fucking old man, Tim, but I'm just saying that because I heard the name, but fucking what's his fucking name? Manson family. That's very old for me. That's way, way before my time. Oh my god, the chat. Let me just refresh this because like it's taken forever for it to catch up with the fucking chat, and that's literally all I'm trying to do is view the fucking chat. Okay, so it's caught up now. So now that I've caught up finally with the fucking chat, how about Fifth Element for female action lead? Fucking what's her face wasn't the lead, Matt, in Fifth Element. I forget what her name is. Whoever the Russian chick is. She's good. I like her as an actress, or as an actor rather. But fucking it is 100% Bruce Willis as the lead of that movie. Do you think Eastern European video game developers, i.e., Warhorse, CD Projekt Red, can save the Western video game industry? No, because you have two fucking examples. Do I think that they can basically carve out their own slice and do extremely well? Well, fuck, man, that's what CD Projekt Red's doing. I want fucking Cyberpunk 2077 to come out and fucking rock the Western industry. I want that video game to come out, be spectacular, better than Grand Theft Auto 5, and rape the Western industry. I want CD Projekt Red to turn into fucking EA just as a developer, literally a $1 billion fucking corporation as just a developer. But yeah, in terms of Warhorse, hopefully this game that they just came out with is, going to do well for them. It appears to be a hit. I can't say for certain, but at least on PC, it seems to be doing very well. It had like 1,000 reviews on the fucking first day. Come on, Steam, what the fuck? Let me check my wish list, and I will check out that on the Steam page. Paradox. Paradox Interactive. That's another fucking one. Good one, Tim. That's another one. Paradox is not bad. They're not bad. Creative Assembly. Like, I know everyone loves the fucking Total War games, but God, like, I swear to God, if like Sargon ever gets on does a video on his secondary channel and says like I shot myself, it's gonna be because I fucking played a Creative Assembly game. That's gonna be the game that drives me to fucking kill myself. Because like I genuinely think that the Total War games are good games. I do think they're good games, but I am not good enough at them. So it frustrates me. Like in Warhammer, the only faction that I am good at, meaning I can play on hard difficulty and win, which is where I top out. If the rest of you are fucking South Korean spider finger fuckers, whatever, you can beat the game on legendary or whatever the fuck, good for you. But the only faction that I've ever been good at has been vampires. It's literally the only faction that I'm good at. The only fucking one. Every other one I try and I just can't. I can't beat the game on hard difficulty. But yeah. I try and I fail. But anyways, what the fuck? I went on here just to... Oh, god damn it. Where is it? Here we go. Kingdom Come Deliverance, which is currently $60 on Steam. I've had many people recommend it to me. I've had it on my wish list for a while. 3,800 reviews since launch, which was fucking yesterday. Fucking yesterday. And this game is just short of 4,000 reviews. Apparently, it's gone down from very positive to mostly positive. Hopefully it's not getting fucking rushed or dogpiled or whatever it's called with negative reviews. Apparently someone complaining about bugs, poor optimization, bugs, optimization bugs. Okay, apparently there's people criticizing it for bugs. So apparently the people at Warhorse Studios need to patch it. But, this game did come out fucking yesterday. But fucking, dude, that's... For this guy, I don't know if these guys... let me see. Is there any other games on Steam that these guys have done? No. This is their only game on Steam. Their only game on Steam. And it appears to be like a fucking very serious hit. Let me go on the top. Let me go on top. Top sellers. Number one on fucking Steam. Number one on fucking Steam right now. That's pretty fucking serious. That's pretty fucking serious for like a very small indie Eastern European fucking studio. That's pretty fucking serious. Good for them, man. I hope they make a shitload of money. That's pretty fucking serious. Steam isn't... I know people like to shit on Steam and whatever, but Steam is a big deal. Doing well on Steam is a big fucking deal. And the fact that they're number one on Steam right now as an indie fucking studio that's made nothing before this on Steam, that's a big deal. And hopefully they make a lot of money. So yeah, good for them. Let me catch up to chat here. I've had a bunch of people recommend me play Dynasty Warriors 9. It's kind of all over the place for me. Like, there's a lot that I don't really understand about it, and the gameplay isn't exactly up my alley. I've looked at it though, and I'm still to some degree considering it. But it's like I said, I've been just playing some stuff that's been kind of oatmeal, backlog kind of stuff. I'm largely just seeing if I can take a break from it. Because one of the things that I'm not doing is I need to start seriously putting up some content this month, because I've been so overwhelmed with my job. I really haven't put up a lot of content this month. Central, whatever the fuck. I don't give a fuck about Europe. Eastern Europe, Central Europe, Western Europe, the whole goddamn thing can sink, and it wouldn't make a goddamn difference to me. Unless you support me on Patreon or Maker Support, then I'm glad to have you around. Outside of that, I don't know how much I really care. I mean, the good thing about Eastern Europe is that, or fucking Central Europe, whatever the fuck, is that it hasn't been infiltrated with SJW fucking retards to destroy your goddamn process. Louis, you ever done any work on teachers unions? No. I know a couple of people that work for a teachers union, and that's through my my family, ultimately my father, but I don't really know them well. And they're bourgeois left, they don't really fit too much in with my family, America is better than Europe. Have fun turning in the Middle East 2.0. That's a comment by Salty Squire. Yeah, that's correct. Eastern Europe seems to be fine, but Western Europe, you guys are fucked. Good luck. Okay, here's actually somebody recommended this to me. And I know this should be controversial. So one of the games that's on my wish list that I'm considering buying, haven't pre-ordered. Like I said, I haven't spent any money. So I want to know from you, for those of you that play Japanese games, if this is a controversial pick. Someone has recommended to me, and I looked at it and I go, I don't know, maybe this is something I might be interested in for a Japanese game. The game is Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet, which is an upcoming game. I want to hear what you guys have to say in the chat. So be sure to @ me. Be sure to say what you think. If you are aware of this series, if you're aware of this game, give me an opinion on Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet. Let's get some opinions in the chat about this game. Macron is going to institute conscription again, so maybe France will grow balls again. Pay to win. Haven't played the SAO game, but I heard it's balls. No, SAO show sucks, but I don't know. SAO trash. SAO in the year of our Lord 2018. I heard the anime was garbage, so I never watched. The complete trash. Kill it with fire. Sword Art Online had one of the story in anime. I think that's a troll. Oh man, trash anime. Somebody said it was pay to win. Does it have microtransactions in it? Is about how sexist it is, so I don't know if it's bad. Someone says apparently that's like the thing is I don't know who's trolling and who's not. It's the problem. Just a while later, wait a while later and buy a Little Witch Academy PS4 game. Don't play Sword Art Online. Don't. Execution is mediocre. Just go to the Game Boy Advance. I don't have a Game Boy Advance. It's like a generous 5 out of 10. Stream it. I'm being serious. Oh, man. Play more Life is Strange. Oh, that's a good one. Who said that? Fucking Gonzo. Oh, Gonzo, that was a good one. Playing SAO is beneath me. The game is 5 out of 10. The chicks are 10 out of 10. Danny DeVito voice trash. No, I don't. You're not going to get any pics. It's Catgirls, Tim. The whole point of the names of these streams is to be completely fucking irrelevant. Your face when you unironically like Life is Strange. Yeah, seriously, man. Well, the thing is, Life is Strange. Like, if I ever have the time and just the real motivation, because the thing is, somebody paid me a couple $100 to play the game, and I still don't have the time or interest to fucking play it. Life is Strange is like a game that is so fucking bad that you just look for something to pay attention to that you can argue for 20 minutes is something halfway decent, just to avoid the otherwise terrible fucking every other aspect of the game. Life is Strange is awful. And the only thing worse than Life is Strange is Life is Strange Before the Storm, which is like the prequel. Oh my, I still haven't beat it because I don't want to go play the third episode because it's so fucking boring. Like, the thing is too is the original game Life is Strange is cringy. Life is Strange Before the Storm is just fucking boring. It does have cringy shit in it, but it is just boring. Hold on, the chat's fucked up again. Okay. Playing SAO is like getting raped in prison. Now someone's saying play it. Life is Strange is still better than SAO. Goddamn, Strange Goat. Goddamn. That's pretty fucking harsh criticism. Why play story-driven games? Read a book. Yeah, I do as well. Life is Strange. Attempt to make gamers shoot themselves by Tim. Oh man. We'll wrap this up, I suppose, in the next few minutes. Is there any other questions we can get to before I move to anything else? Yeah. Okay. So I guess we could wrap this up unless there's anything else. If you have any other game recommendations, be sure to gab them at me, croak them at me, as I said to the guy that runs it, and he never said anything back because he's a cunt. Tweet it at me, croak it at me. Let me know if you have any game suggestions. I've already had people suggest Dynasty Warriors 9. I've had people offer Monster Hunters World or whatever the fuck. That one's probably going to be a no. That gameplay style I'm not into, so that's going to have to be a no. But if you've got any suggestions, Tim asks, any chance you can get Sargon into getting you onto a stream with Jordan Peterson? That would be fucking crazy. Could you imagine me streaming with Jordan Peterson? That would be fucking something else. Because unlike the other, because there's been other people, and I don't want to name names, that have had streams with Jordan Peterson where they get starstruck and they just go like hamina, hamina, hamina. They just ask some basic bitch questions. No, dude, I'm going in deep. I'm going in Alex Jones deep with fucking Jordan Peterson if I had him on for an interview for like an hour or 2 hours or however long, dude. I go in deep with him on that shit. I would be nonstop talking about the goals of these people to use art as just basic propaganda and have basically to get analysis by him. Why do you think that is? Like, why do you think these people try to use gaming, comics, movies, all these different things as little more than a tool to disseminate their propaganda and their ideology? Like, what do you think is behind that? And just stuff like that. Just get him to go into stuff like that. Because if you push him on certain questions like that, he'll go into it deep, man. There has been some streams where he goes hardcore into it, and it's fucking great. So Jordan Peterson would be a fucking awesome interview. The thing is, too, is I've had a couple people who have said they'll come on and do a stream with me. The only question is going to be format. I've had a bunch of people get in contact with me and say, well, a couple things. People have said they like the multi-person format. Other people have said they really don't like the multi-person format. They'd rather it be myself and one other person, or maybe two, and that's max. I've had people say that I should have more. Feel free to DM me or send me a message or whatever the fuck, and let me know what you prefer for a format. But if I ever had somebody like Jordan Peterson, maybe at most I'd have somebody like Sargon on if he can make it too or something. Just for it to be an interesting conversation and to draw as many eyes as possible to my channel. Because that's going to be the other beauty of getting people that are way bigger than me on my channels. All those fucking juicy eyeballs coming to my channel. Anything that gets me close to back to that. Because I had somebody giving me shit earlier. Oh, did you like it when you got raped on that stream with Jim? Oh, you mean that stream that it did, that hour-long stream or however long it was, which with Mr. Medicare, where I had Sargon on and I made like $300 in an hour? You know, I mean that stream where I gained like 1,000 subscribers right after? You mean that stream? Oh yeah, I'm real broken up after that. You mean how I'm still on speaking terms with both people involved in that, even though it was a disagreement? Oh no, I'm very broken up about that fucking stream. I've already tried to get Jimmy Dore. I've reached out to Jimmy Dore. I've had Sargon reach out to Jimmy Dore. I've had Sargon reached out to Kyle Kalinske, who then reached out to Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore is a pussy. Jimmy Dore has run. He constantly avoids Sargon. He knows Sargon exists. He's been contacted by Sargon. I've contacted Jimmy Dore, and he has avoided us completely. So Kyle Kalinske, I don't know if I ever would want to have him on, because it would just be me essentially insulting him and talking about how little I think of him. But with Jimmy Dore, I would have a conversation with, but he avoids us. He doesn't want to acknowledge that I exist, or especially Sargon exists. Doesn't want to, even though he could get thousands of subscribers from talking with fucking Sargon, but he avoids him. So I don't know why. Gonzo says Jimmy Dore is great on Rogan. I saw that. I saw clips of that. Yeah, he was great. I can't say for the full thing, but stream with PSA. I don't know who you're talking about. Have I gotten hand of Jordan Peterson fan art? I don't really care about that shit. go deep with Alex Jones. What's funny about Alex Jones is that fucking Sargon cucked on that. Is that Alex Jones reached out to Sargon multiple times, and Sargon cucked out on that. I laughed so hard at him. I told him a million times he needed to go on Alex Jones' show, but he cucked out multiple times. Way too much Chomsky worship from that spectrum of the left. They're all traps for Chomsky. That's correct. Everyone that I'm aware of is a Chomskyite, and that includes Kyle. And I don't like Chomsky. I've done a video, I believe, where I ranted about him. I really don't like Chomsky. SA. Who the fuck is SA? Spell it out. I'm not doing blood sports. I already said what if you want me to go on that fucking Tonka channel. I already said that I would go on Andy Worski's channel if he fucking ever reached out to me. But if any of the stupid small ones like that Tonka one, $1,000. You pay me $1,000, I'll go on. You don't pay me $1,000, I don't go on. That's my price. Because I'm not bothering. It's stupid. But Worski, I'll go on his stupid stream. He's going down fast. He's losing a lot of friends. Andy's not in a good position right now, and I got some inside knowledge on that. He's not in a good position. He's burning fucking bridges, and he ought to fucking reel it in. Because beforehand, I had never heard a bad word about Andy Worski before now. Like everyone I knew liked him. They liked him and his whatever brother, whatever the fuck, and they no one had any problems with him. But like that stupid shit that he's doing now, I've talked to multiple people, a couple of them way bigger than me, who know about the situation and that have had direct back and forth with Andy Worski, and they're very mad at him right now. So Andy better fucking watch himself, or he's gonna be fucking burning enough bridges where he's gonna be by himself. He's gonna have a fucking that fucking dick sucker for the alt-right, JF, and like a handful of other fucking jerk-offs, and that's gonna be it. He's doing some stupid shit, so he ought to stop. Yeah. But in any case, yeah, let's wrap this up, guys. I'll take one more question, and then we'll you know. I'm not. People are asking what he's doing. I'm not going to offer it because it depends on who we're talking about. Basically, okay. So here's the thing. Okay, Andy went out, talked a load of shit about a bunch of different people, and then a bunch of different people looked at him and said, "Why are you talking shit about me? Why are you bad mouthing other people? Why are you bad mouthing people that I'm friends with?" Like, he's just freaking out. Like, he talks shit about me. He doesn't even know who the fuck I am. Like, he's just talking shit about a bunch of different people, stirring up drama, and whatever. Like, he's pissing off people, and he's stupid for doing so. Are you going to buy the new Kiss for the Pedals game on Steam? Derek, it's a fucking kinetic, or is it kinetic? Is that the right word? Yeah, I think it is. Kinetic novel. I'm not big on kinetic novels. Don't really like them. There's no point. There's usually like choices in the game, but if they're kinetic novels, what's the fucking point? It's either you get the ending that you get, or it's a fail state. It's like I don't really like it. If it's not that, then maybe. I have a bunch of fucking visual novels that I gotta finish, and so I'm not really gung ho on buying another one. Shame you can't do this more often. Yeah, I can only do what I can do. I worked fucking 11 hours today. No, wait, 10 hours of actual work. I worked 2 cases, and then another like hour and a half, hour 45 minutes of fucking driving. That's one of the reasons I didn't want to get drunk or anywhere close to it, is because I'd be so fucked up because I'm very tired. But yeah, I sobered up so I wouldn't be too incoherent because I'm really fucking tired. Because I've had the last 2 weeks have been fucking crazy, and I haven't had much time to do fucking anything. But yeah, in regards to the whole like blood sports thing, which I've had a bunch of people say, like, come to me about and ask me if I'm going to be on any of them or whatever. Like, I forget how long ago I said, like, I made the $1,000 remark, like, if you want me to be on that blood sport thing, that Kumite or whatever, it's $1,000 if you want me there. Like, it seems to be burning out really quick, so I'm not really too worried. A lot of people are making a big deal about it. I'm not really too worried. I think it's going to burn out. Yeah, but I don't really want to go into what's been said, but like, I know at least a few people, some of which again are very big, a lot bigger than me, who had direct contact with Andy, and it's like either Andy DM'd them and said something incredibly rude, or Andy shit on them publicly, or Andy called them out. It's like the guy called me out. He never contacted me. Like, the guy is going crazy. I don't know what to say. Like, I don't want to name names, but because it's drama. If I name names, then it's drama. But it's like I just wanted the guy. I don't even know the guy. I don't even know the fucking guy. I just know that, like, he's pissing off a lot of fucking people, and he should stop. When do you get reparations? I can't. I'm not following you there, Basinski. Uh, Lewis, did you delete and edit that stream with Medicare? So I've had a couple alt-right people say to me that I took down the Medicare stream and then re-uploaded it, and they say that there's 8 or 10 minutes missing from it. I have no fucking clue what anyone is fucking talking about. I did the stream live. The stream processed and was up like a minute after we finished. It's been up since we recorded it. I didn't take it down. I didn't edit any of it. There's no evidence that I edited it or deleted it or whatever. Like, how much work would that require of me to do? Like, I didn't even read the fucking super chats. You're telling me I fucking downloaded it, edited it, and put it up to cut what? You know, why would I fucking do that? It doesn't make any sense. There's no evidence I did anything. It's just another alt-right fucking lie that they're spreading to smear me as somehow being disingenuous or whatever. I don't really care. You know, they seem to be burning out, and it doesn't really matter to me. They can say whatever the fuck they want to. They have to prove any of it if it's going to be true. No, YouTube clipped the video for a day or so, then the full video showed up. It was a YouTube glitch. I don't know. I don't know anything about the stream. As far as I know, the full fucking thing is there. I haven't touched it since we actually had the stream. I don't know anything outside of it's the way it was when it was published. I don't know anything about minutes missing or whatever other bullshit. If you can prove it, prove it. I haven't seen any evidence of anything. It's just fucking stupid accusations. If you have any full videos, by the way, send them my way. Got any full re-uploads, so-called archives of that fucking stream? Send them my way. I've already answered where I've got my name from before. Is Medicare working for the feds? Did you at least like the Jared versus Tariq Nasheed debate? No, I didn't watch that. I don't care. Two retards fucking debating. Who cares? They'd agree on too much. Who would bother to watch? Jim and his iron lung. Well, that's what I mean. I said I don't even know when I said it, but I said that like Jim was going off the rails a little bit. Like I don't know what he was doing and why, but it was like a week or so, 2 weeks after he did that stream with me. I forget how long it was, but he put out a Patreon because I support him on Patreon. He sent out a Patreon like, "Oh, I'm falling apart. Like I'm sick or whatever." And it's like, well, that's what I said. You got to get yourself in order. Because he's not doing anything. He's just like fucking around on Twitter. He's not doing anything. Maybe he's going into streams and I'm not seeing it, but he's not doing anything. Would I debate Hard Bastard on fucking what? Dr. Tariq Nasheed. Let's see here. Just Google the name. What? I don't know who Billy the Fridge is. He smokes? I didn't even know he smoked. It's not good for you. I can say that for Kraut, it didn't help his fucking health. Oh my! I already said I'm not debating Destiny. Destiny offered to debate me. I already said no. I'm not fucking debating him. I'll debate fucking Tariq Nasheed or Jared Taylor or some shit. I'm not debating because at least they'll be somewhat honest. I'm not debating fucking Destiny. That'd be the last fucking person. Thoughts on Aiden Pellin's tits? I actually saw what she looked like. I went on her channel for some reason or other. Somebody linked me something, and I went in her channel and I saw a video of her and like Hard Bastard in the same room. And I was actually shocked. I was like, these two even know each other? But yeah. So I know what they look like now. Fucking Hard Bastard's pretty weird looking, I gotta say. He reminds me of that fucking image. He's like a long hair version of that guy I tweeted out earlier. Like the guy from that PSA from the 50s. He looks a lot like that guy, especially with the glasses. But I don't really have any animus towards him or anything like that. And obviously, all credit for him. I'm not sure if he does like full face. I haven't watched his channel a very long time, but full credit for him for putting his face out there. They're actually dating. Is that true? That Aiden Paladin and Hard Bastard are dating? Is that true? Is that like another fucking YouTube couple? What is the liberalist position on mentally challenged Catgirls? I'm pretty sure that I'm never gonna debate Coach Red Pill. Coach Red Pill's a fucking liar. Fuck him. Anyone that takes him seriously is out of their mind. He is a ridiculous liar and likely a con artist in more than one way. So giving him any attention whatsoever is you doing a disservice to yourself. But in terms of the liberalist policy on Catgirls, that's another one that I'm going to have to fucking debate because there are some rapists, so to say, that are part of the liberalist movement that believe Catgirls can consent. And I'm going to have to see if I can drum up enough political capital to subvert them to get my policy enabled. Debate Uzalu. Uzalu would be somebody possible. I have him on my Skype. I could just DM him, but I'm not. What like? You can't just say debate somebody. I get the meme, but what the fuck am I supposed to debate Uzalu about? Thanks for the super chat. Oh Jesus. Debate Uzalu on centrism. debate me and prove Europe is much better than America. What a joke of a fucking debate that'll be. The fucking Europe, especially Western Europe. Western Europe is a living meme. All of it. It's a living meme. Would you confront any commies in the future? I'm not really sure if that would really be worth my time. I mean, maybe if we're going to have like a chat, but I don't think I'd debate a communist because I don't really think we're going to go anywhere. All right, let's get. I'm actually over. I'm going over my own time, so let's get one more thing and then we'll close this out. So one more. If you get the next super chat, you're it. So next super chat, you get the final question, or whoever gets the most provocative question. So it's up. Challenge is up. Challenge is up in the air. Either provocative question or next super chat. I don't know what's going on in the fucking chat right now. I'm trying to bait somebody. It's not working. Stingy goddamn bastards. Anyways, all right, let's get. Come on, one more. Get some more in here, and we'll close this baby out. Everyone's talking about killing fucking commies. I'll refresh, and then we let's see. You are far closer to conservative than you think. I don't know about that, Tim. I don't know about that. Maybe in some ways. But I'm just not cucked by certain factors that other people seem to be consumed with. Debate movie pop. Oh Jesus! What would we fucking debate? What would movie Bob and I fucking debate? Please go to sleep so I can't do. Okay, so we're just gonna end it here. We're gonna end it here with Basinski, Brazilian bastard that he is, with his $2 and fucking Brazilian monopoly money of just saying go to sleep. And so yeah, good night, Basinski. Sleep tight. Don't get killed by a cartel or a paramilitary death squad. Thank you guys for stopping by. Thanks for the super chats by everybody. Thanks for the questions asked. Thanks for spending your time tonight with me. Be sure to support my channel on Patreon and on Maker Support. And if not there, check out my affiliate links, link below, and go to JList or Play Asia and pick yourself up a game. And outside of that, watch my other content. Don't unsubscribe just because you disagree with me. And until next time.